SFDC radio.com and mash up the world.
And this part of the program, I say, we'll take about the journey and about the living Ella, the living tribute. And I say, right now, we come talk about myself. Who is I, man? Actually, you know, it's a good question. That first, you know, I'm a man. That's the first thing. You see me, so, you know, we want to go through on the journey because Luton told me there. You see me, I say, and many people claim to know about me. Yeah, man, I know him to the extent where, as far as I'm concerned, they can just dispass me and disrespect me. And don't even acknowledge me, upon most less as an elder. See, but whether them like it or not, deceive them vibrations about tribute to the elders and tribute to the legends. And that now is myself. You see me, I say, you know, so when I'm there for sound with one trumpet, we're there for go through reason and go through history. So people them can see what is it that justifies a one to be a living legend, much less an elder. See, because these are not the rhetorics. See, because we're living in a time now where the youth them done with the rhetorics. We live in a time where youth them want people who are live with them talk and I talk with them and live with them, I walk with them, I talk and I do the walk. See, this is why we have the elders them, because the elders them, the generation, there's a gap that's getting wider and wider between we and the generation, and we can't just observe the problem and don't try and bring some kind of solutions. Everybody have to play them part in the scheme of things. Each man can only do what they can do. See, it's like every man of him crossing Canberra. When you struggle to you carry your cross by your shoulder. If you go and carry it diligently, you know. You look at the next man beside you, you want to carry your cross. You might feel cross for carry. You see what I say? So life is about we have to know ourselves. And in knowing ourselves, we have to understand that there's many things in life which involves being aware that we have a free will and a free mind to make certain conscious decisions. Somehow we are where we are today based upon the decisions we have made. With our free will and we have free mind. And some of we don't like it, and when we're done, we blame God. And we determine where we did that today. So when we look back at the decisions we made, when we really analyze and be honest, we say, remember, you know, you can't make progression if you're not prepared to be, you know, to be critical, especially self-critical. Because you can fool the youths sometimes, but you can't fool them all the time. Everybody claim to be concerned about the youths. All the youths, them. What happened to them? A funding money no want. But youths them, when I joke out in the days, or we can't find some of them organizations if we talk about by the way. Or we can't see Wicked Ninja about the place. Weird. What happened to them workers who are outreach? I want to see nobody outreach to the youth them and to the youth them who are suffer in a silent. You know how much youth them are commit suicide but the plate and don't know where to do and can't find no local center and I take this thing as a joke. You know how much questions me get and me can't answer them, you know. We put about 20 odd questions on the website or something for fax them. For go show the people so see them I put the questions them to the airways people. That's all I can do. I can't answer them questions there. So you the people have to go find out some of them questions there, you know what I mean, in relationship to the umbrella organization. Because again, one thing take me upon another thing because there I might show this evening there, so you have to go in my spiritual improvisation. I have a guest pass to the studio, an elder who will do a living tribute to Honorable Lawrence Palmer. I do want to say a special greeting because it was a pleasure when a man just passed through, especially improvising because I know it's cold outside and sometimes I wasn't really expecting him to pass through and come in live to the studio this evening to tell the truth. So I do want to say I give thanks and I say honorable greetings, Mr. Lawrence Palmer.
Greetings, Kush. Well, for telling the truth, boss, when me hear say, them a do a living legend and it's the eye. I say, you know what? Me want some of that. So, I say, make me come put you up on the other side now and do some of this interview.
You know what? I'm going to get a seat in the facts because you know, see, I always stand up in the facts. You don't know me, still, right now I'm going to take a seat in the facts. Because
yes,
we're live, and you see me I say, and every event of the day is what we call the history of tomorrow. So we don't know, say, every event, we document history on yes. So again, you see me I say, we live in a Luton Town, Bedfordshire, and even I and I have a struggle. My personal struggle also starts from Luton Town. You see me I say. So again, that's why I give thanks for this opportunity. It's the first time, in fact, in that respect, that I'm being able, you know, I've never been interviewed before, much less been questioned before. My life is like a open book. So, folks, if you've got numbers, if you're on the web, don't feel the way. I don't feel the way to answer any question. You see me I say? So, you know, so feel free, interact. Feel free for those humble and listen because people think them know me and them don't know about me. You see me, I say my book is being written amongst other things, and I know even with the time allocated, I'm not going to give it to cover the whole thing, but we're going to get to cover enough things to give you a rough idea of who Sir Kush Genesis is. You see me, I say, because no people think them know me to the extent where I can be ignored, and the youths them need accessibility to the elders. You see me, as a Rasta man myself and through the experience, you see me, I say, it's a start state of affairs that many of the organization don't use access to myself and people like Lawrence Palmer, me I say, you know, and amongst other things to the extent now I have to go farm my own company. You see me, so we can start get to the money because sometimes we have too much organizations being built. What we need to do is try and work together. But me can't not find nobody for work with. Me not find nobody who want to work with me. Why? Because I'm a Rasta man and I have dreadlocks on my head. Is that the reason why? Because the world don't know me from Luton, you know. I know it's Luton me grow. So what is the problem? What is the issue? What is the real issue? Why is it no one commission me for coming to the school them when the youth them and the teachers them need to learn about the culture of Rastafari and the liberty of Rastafari for the look of Rasta youth them? Why is it nobody's coming on to Ireland and make the youth them suffer and yet only claim to represent the African and Caribbean community? That's why we say we are called for accountability and transparency because Luton town me grow and many people are still saying me born and grow in Jamaica and we're going to get to that. And I'll be good. Yes,
I'm here to do the interview.
Give thanks.
I'm going to want you start answer the question then before I even ask.
Give thanks.
them.
Yes.
Because to be honest, yes, we want to know who Kush Genesis is. And maybe throughout this interview, we might find out a bit more. And then we'll wonder why, as you say, nobody don't commission you. So let us start right from the beginning, boss.
As you don't know, so the beginning start with my mother and my father.
Well, no, right now, I want to know where you was born.
Okay, all right. Give thanks. Lawrence, I was born in Clapham, London.
Okay.
England.
See, and as you say, everybody thought it was. What about your background? Where's your family background from? I know it's Africa.
Yeah,
but I mean,
my family background is Jamaica. My mother and my father are from Jamaica, Manchester, Devon. My father is from. I'm still not too sure about where my mother is from.
Okay. I suppose similar to me.
Yeah.
Grew up with one of the parents. Where did you grow up?
My younger days initially was Brixton.
Okay.
Brixton, between Clapham and Battersea, Brixton. And then I moved to Luton.
What age was you when you
I was very young. I arrived in Luton at about like 3 years old, 4 years old, them years there. You know, that I was in Luton. So my memories in London are very vague. Because only when people tell me, my auntie them tell me.
See. Well, I tell you what, just give me a little brief history of growing up in Luton, what it was like, and what make it different from now. Was there trial and tribulations that you had to go through? Because I know personally myself that in those times it wasn't easy.
Yes.
As a black person.
Well, Lawrence, you know, firstly, you know what I mean, and I'm now going Russ because I love the question you come, and I still going to take it easy because even before I touch upon that, there's my name.
Boss, I'm here to do the interview, you know.
All right.
We'll get to that.
All right. If I have a different order, okay. All right. You make reference to the question about growing up in Luton. Those days now are filled with mixed emotions, Lawrence. When I was 9 years old, when people talk about growing up in Luton, the first thing that come to mind, boom, 9 years old, me up on the street, I run from some beating from my father. You see me I say?
Yeah.
And that night they me sleep in a graveyard up on Napier Road. You remember Napier Road still did there.
Yes.
It have the graveyard.
Yes.
I done the first night, 9 years old. You see me I say, Lawrence, because them time it all start off when I was probably about 8 years old or so, and I will never remember the day because it was a Sunday. And when I watched television, Cowboys and Indians, and we didn't want the Cowboys them to win, even though we realized that the Indians them was in the right. You see me say, if I fight for them land. You see me I say?
Same.
Anyway, in my family is 5 brothers and 1 sister. This particular Sunday afternoon, my mother was plaiting my sister ear while we boys play with cars and I watch cowboy movie.
Yeah.
Now, I decided at that time, my father was at the pub, on Easton Street.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon pub, you know it go already.
Yes.
Right? Now, me decided that afternoon amongst that thing to give me what my mother was doing was plaiting my sister's ear. And when I started to plait my sister's ear, and when my mother was plaiting my sister's ear, and I was gimmicking what she was doing with 3 pieces, and then I hear my father's key in the door, and I take out the plait them quick. Yeah, and this is about 8 years old. Now when my father come in, he look on the wall, and him son and my brother, and him take step on. So he said to me, "What you know about Rasta boy?" Now this is growing up in Luton. Me not born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Me born in England. Me grew up in Luton. Right, 8 years old. My father, "What you know about Rasta boy?" So I didn't know what my father was talking about.
Yeah.
You only know me realize that when you have a plait and you take out the plait, it look like dreadlocks.
Yes.
So
yes.
me kind of see where my father said now. So him get shocked now because he say, "What you know about Rasta boy?" Well, you know, them time me don't know about them word there. This is me say because he like be ball go. So me I wonder my father rant and rave about. Next thing me know him say, "What? Make me show you where them do Rasta Jamaica." I get some licks that did there and some punch and some ribs like a man. Then tell them if I run upstairs out of the window, me run gone. And that's how amongst other things I end up sleeping at Luton. You see me I say, and them time in 9 years old graveyard, not knowing nowhere to go, roam the streets. You see me I say.
Yeah.
And that is why sometimes I came across coincidences like yourself. You was one of the mans them. That's why even when you never remember me, remember say one night me sleep on your floor. You there with Paula Jones and you and Paula make me come sleep on the floor. And I wake up the next morning and me have some fried dumpling and saltfish. Yeah, man.
I'm glad to know I was still generous back then.
What, Lawrence, man? I tell you, man. Them days they made the struggle sweet. Big Joe, Bubba. Those days, amongst other things, I wasn't going to school, so I was expelled from school, excluded from school. So at a very young age, I went for expulsion, exclusion from school for between 9, excluded, marginalized. You see me I say? Those times, again, we realized the effects of the skinheads and the racism. You see, and I was born here in the diaspora. So, you know, my time in Luton was kind of cute because from the 9 years old, I ended up in 4 children's homes. You see, I said, because I've not gone to school, so I had the educational officers, them chasing me down, my father looking for me, and the police, them looking for me. So each time I get apprehended, I was in a children's home.
Okay.
Always taken there at midnight. And always the presentation, the reception was always the same. You're confronted with a gang of white boys.
Yeah.
Because you're taken there at midnight.
Yeah.
Come out in that them van. And this is over here. From Runfold, remember Runfold on Chapel Street?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
You got Oxenden House,
Yes.
Colton House.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then they moved me to Kidlington Prison at the age of 15 and charged me with GBH, and a police officer hold me down violently and shave off my locks. I am one of them.
So tell me something, going back to the locks, when did you start growing?
My locks now start grow, lovely Lawrence. My locks start grow from, I suppose, from the age of 13, because I wasn't going to school. I was on the run from children's homes. You know, I was my most of those times from 9, 10 up until 15, 16 was in institutions. But but more often than not, I was always on the run because every time I went to one, the thing was an escape plan. You see what I'm saying? And I used to come back at Luton and come at Dallaroo Park because I know that once I come at Dallaroo Park, anybody trouble me at Dallaroo Park, I worries. Me see Big Joe throw down 6 policemen one time.
And give us a little bit about, you mentioned Dollar Road Park.
Dallaroo Park.
What was it?
Man, I tell you, Dallaroo Park was all where all the brethren and where, you know, I used to run from these institutions where were predominantly white people who abused black people.
Yes.
You know, when I used to go to this institution, the first thing was, which jam jar did you come off? You see what I'm saying? And when you're confronted with a gang of white boys and you're the only black boy, you have to use wisdom. Because wisdom is going to take us, if you take out the 6 of them and tell them you're not going to probably win. So my wisdom was always to run away.
Okay.
Because I've never been beaten by a white boy.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? In those circumstances,
Yeah.
I've always found a way of avoiding that confrontation and had an escape plan. And then back to Luton. When I come back to Luton, Dallar Road was always the place to head. Dallar Road, you know, is where I would find my people. I would find my community. Granville, Big Joe, Milton. You see what I'm saying? Footballer player. You know what I mean? Pure nice vibes are going. You know, if I wanted to feel safe, I know I could go to Dallaroo Park. And every time I went there, eventually when, during the daytime, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, educational officers are looking for me.
Yes.
Because I've absconded from children's homes and institutions, and naturally I'm out wanted, and police them are looking for me. And again, it wasn't too long before they realized Delaware was the place because I didn't hide it.
Yes.
I was proud to go to Delaware because I know say, anyone who come to Delaware and put the hand upon me, I worries. Because them time the black man, my brothers have never joke. And that's how it was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So them time there was, to me, was some beautiful times, Lawrence, because it was the unity. Because those times the racism was so rampant, the sauce law was brutal. My mother used to have worries because she knew I grew locks because I used to come out, and even though I used to come out on the run, I used to always check in on mum.
Yes.
Yeah? But mum used to frighten because I had locks from me, and the mum said, you know, then go in trouble when you have to cover up your head. But I used to deliberately take off my hat. You see me I say? I used to deliberately take off the hat and flash my dreadlocks.
To show your proudness.
My proudness of my African identity, because I always knew that what's my locks got to do with judging me. I should be judged on my merits and my countenance and my character. You see me I say, oh man, I judge me by my locks, and my locks is my identity. So from a very young stage, you know what I mean, I grab my locks as a part of an African identity to knowing myself, to find out who the heck was I, because you grew up in England, you know, some of my close friends was white friends.
Yes.
And then you realize, boy, it's something I've gone because people are calling you niggas and telling you to go back where you come from. So I didn't know what that mean.
Okay.
You see me I say, because I was born here in England, so when you're telling me go back where I come from, me ever say weird. And what that mean? What's some boy I deal? I used to go to football matches where I used to fight and just fight anybody because them have a different football scarf.
Yes.
All them foolishness there. You see me I say, and then the journey come when, you know what I mean, I had to find myself. Growing up in Luton was a crucial time, like I said, fundamentally, just for knowing myself.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a double-ended question. Well, two questions in one. I might be jumping forward, but the name Kush, Genesis, was you christened Kush Genesis? If not, tell us how and when you change your name and so on.
That name came about a change. That name of James came about to Depot.
Okay, and what age was you when
I was? The age means that goes back now 36 years ago. So I will not even say what my age, but that goes 36 years ago. I'm 54 today.
Okay.
So take out 36 years. That was a crucial point for me because I felt like, you know, it was the whole purpose wasn't so much to disrespect my parents them in the name they gave me.
So what you're saying then, in a period of time, you found your identity and your roots to say that the name that you were given by your parents is not a traditional African name, but being born here and growing up in society and being called certain things, there was a realization.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly that, last, because you find out that even now, sometimes your parents used to go through and give we humble names because they want us to go through society a certain way. You know, my father, again, you know what I mean, the names of a lot of my brothers was so that we know in society because they had come from a rough stage. You see what I'm saying? This is why my father was very much concerned. He didn't know, I understand even more why he was concerned about me becoming Rasta, because he knew how Rasta was being treated in Jamaica.
Yeah.
You see me, I said the laws was you can't just shave Rasta upon the corner and just brutalize them. You see me, I said, so you know, I realized that it wasn't so much me and the dislike, because I thought it was against me, but it was what his concerns were, like, you know.
Okay, you've told us a bit about life as you was growing up, the hardship you went through from homes to being arrested. When did you turn your life around, and when did things start to change?
My life, Lawrence, was in prison at the age of 15. When the man them hold me down and shave off my locks violently and laugh upon me. And I knew I couldn't do nothing because previously I just watched a dreadlocks brethren fight, a big muscly brethren, built like what them call a house. And you see me, I said, but that didn't, because even though he may have got a couple of punches, later on that night, 6 of them came in himself and beat the hell out of him. So when I was held down and I had to sit there and watch the man then patch up my head, they didn't even give me a good shave. Then patch up my head and laugh upon me. That night, and I got on myself and I cry.
Okay.
And the only thing I could have hold on to was my Bible.
Okay.
That's when, you know what I mean, 15 years old. You see me I say? The Bible, because same time in prison you had a lot of brethren from Brixton, but still at those moments where you just yourself. So you have to find your own self, because I had to ask myself, what do I want to be? Do I want to become the most wickedest person on this earth? Because I was bitter against Luton, some of the elders them in Luton. You see what I said?
Yes, yes.
You know, and there was a lot of things that would be because as you grow wiser, you realize, because I remember growing up, elders them those times used to encourage us not to go to school, not to even go to university because it's Babylon University, we don't do Babylon school.
Yes.
You see what I said? Because we build the pyramids. And when me in a prison, I said, but I can't build a pyramid. I don't know nothing about carpentry and build. Only man that tell me, say, I mustn't go out. You see what I said? You know, so I grew up very bitter, and that crossroad in prison was where the positive come out of the negative, because it allowed me to sit down and come to that and discover what my purpose was and what journey, and to make a conscious decision. What is it you want to do now?
Okay. And I know that you play a lot of music on the radio. What is your musical background, and when did that started?
Musical background. I grew up as my father my father in Luton Town. My father used to have a reputation of always opening blues around the yard. So I grew up witnessing music being in a blues dance around Wellington Street. You know what I mean? Those who know my father, the original C.C. Campbell, and my mother, Hyacinth. My mother passed away 36 years ago. My father is still here. So it's a big up father, C.C. every time I originally, yes. And you don't know, so he grew up with music, even though he was concerned about the culture. But I had to make my father realize that all the music he was playing originally from those 60s is what influenced me. Okay. You know what I mean? The culture, because if it's pure culture, it's the whole Jamaican culture, because when there's toots in the Maytals, you listen to Ken Booth, when you check out all them man, there's so many of the music I praise Rastafari, El Jah, and I deal with the culture. So it was quite surprising to me when my father was trying to beat that very thing out of me, which me grow with, you know, because it's Luton, like I said, it's England we're born, you know, but we grow with the music originally. And so because of that, I always, you know, from about the young age, I had to learn and understand a little bit about music. And in trying to understand music, the first thing that came within the culture was the drums. So my first love was for the drums.
But were you ever played any type of DJ music? Did you get involved in a sound system or anything?
Well, it's funny saying that. Yeah, no, you mentioned, because yes, before I move off musical in the drums, yes, we had a sound system in my brother, and it's for to give thanks for that lyrics, because I'm passed right now too. Yes, and those who remember him as Robert Campbell. Yes, Spirit of Judah. Me and him grew up together, because sometimes he got away. He never get put in a prison like me, but he did on the street, and more time is me and him grew together. And it was my bigger brother I had a bigger brother outside of my mother, which is also Judah, Michael Judah. Big up Michael Judah, who also in front of me, came an ancestor, who passed away 2 months ago also. So I've had my first two brothers that has passed away. The two of them is Judah. Okay. But Robert, who grew up in Luton, we had a sound system called Lord Tupper. And some people will remember Lord Tupper. And Lord Tupper come at a time when certain sounds still never deb out. Them time that we farm from in the late 70s. Them time that we are push Tesco trolley or Sainsbury trolley with a sound system go a Windbourne Road and places like Dunstable and where we look at dance them. You see me I say, and Ashburton Road with Amma Dread, Amma Yard. You see me I say, before Amma living link up with Gemini and the rest of the sound them. Amma don't know I say the foundation start with Lord Tupper. You know, so Lord Tupper was with sound, because it's interesting, because we've always felt like we were lost, because we were always in the roots and the culture, and we always read the Bible, and the Bible always made us believe that we were sovereigns. You see me I say, we were lords. You see me I say, and God's working upon this earth, you know what I mean? So, yeah, nice memories that for the end of, you know what I mean? And but same time, we always look up to the other sound system, because them telling my brother, them look up to Fat Man, Pebble Sound, Sufferer Sound. We used to come at Luton Boys Club and all them the Jashaka Sound. I was a more Phoebe's man, where a lot of the man them, even in them time, in the dark, I was always in the every roots and every culture, you know what I mean?
And, and what age was that?
Whoa, Laura, just the thing about it, because I was always because many times I absconded from the children's homes. Yeah. Yes, from the age of 10 and 11. Yeah. I was absconded, and sometimes I was hard to find, because there was always dances going on. You just jump in a sound van those days, and your brethren them and the elders them take care of your sound van. I go. So I'm 11 years old. I'm 12 years old. You know what I mean? I'm 13 years old. Them time, you know what I mean? It was young age, and it was. I can remember, you know, going to tailor shop, and cutting your own jeans, your own trousers. Remember them 2-ton trousers we used to cut? You see me, I said, cool, you know, you mentioned it. And, you know, sounds them Ghana, Birmingham, Leicester, Shaka, Phoebe, sometimes we jump on train. And it was just all night till 6 o'clock in the morning, sunrise. You know what I mean? Skanking all night, because the music was a form of giving thanks and praise. And I grew up in the Orthodox teaching of the Orthodox Church, Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So again, the music and everything was a form of kind of giving praises every time.
And do you know, that just reminded me of an interview I saw on YouTube last week of Buju Banton. And he said the same thing. He used to get beaten for going to dance when he was 13 and 14, jumping on a truck. So even though you was in England, it was a similar way of getting involved in the music and being out there and know what's happening.
Well, yeah, man, because you see them time the Lawrence also, we're looking for the as youths, we were looking for guidance.
Yes.
And what we learned from a very young stage, that the message was in the music.
Okay.
The message was in the music. Because we go to school and we were told we basically were jungle bunnies and we come from monkeys. And even though we didn't have the evidence to refute that, we wouldn't accept it.
Okay.
You see, I say biblically we grew up with this is why I had problems with schooling, because I always felt that I didn't know who I was. I felt like for me to move on, I had to find out who the heck was I. What was all this about? And you telling me I was coming from a monkey wasn't helping me.
Yes.
So I couldn't move on from that. But the music, reggae music, so wherever the sound system was, we're gone because of the consciousness, and I was always following the conscious sound. You know, when we know we're going to shop, Dennis Brown album, I don't even want to hear it, just give me it. Yeah. Bob Marley, I don't even want to hear it, just give me it. Certain albums you just buy without even listening, because you knew the message was there to uplift you and to guide you, because history was the guide. And without history, we were lost. We were wandering in darkness. So the music was always the key.
Yeah, and just moving on a little bit from that now, you mentioned drumming. You was interested in drumming.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about how that started, where that took you, and how that manifests into something that a lot of people may not realize about you.
The drumming was a crucial part of my living, Lawrence, from since I was about young, because part of me grew up bitter. Yeah, and because of that, the culture of Rastafari, the Nyabingi order, because the thing that I was bitter about was against oppression and injustice.
Yes.
As taught by the elders them. And the Nyabingi order, the drumming vibration was the foundation of the music, and there was an order within that music called the Nyabingi order. There's different aspects of drumming.
Yes.
When you take drumming on the international entertainment level, it's totally different from the spiritual churchical order of the drumming.
Okay.
I grew up with the church. I started off with the churchical order. That part I don't take on stage.
Okay.
That's a different part when I deal with the entertainment world. When I'm dealing with the entertainment world, I'm playing samba and bossa nova and merengue, and cha-cha-cha and rumba.
Okay.
When I mean my Nyabingi order, my churchical order, is Nyabingi is a different order.
So who taught you to play the drums? Or did you just pick it up?
That was, some of that was self-taught, and some of that was by listening to records again. So when we're talking about records, we're talking about Count Ossie and the mystic revelation of Rastafari, and we're talking about Ras Michael. Those were my elders. Those elders that I would play their album and play along with the album to learn about the heartbeat, the foundation, funde, art, bass drum, and kete. It's messy because the drum, as the elders them taught, is what connected us to our history, our culture, and connected us to our ancestors. And that's what it did for me. It connected me to the very foundation of my history, because everything started with the drum, which is the heartbeat and the foundation of the nation.
So those two was your influence as far as drumming?
Main elders, yes, Lawrence, because in terms of influence, take a sip, this a king, for true. In terms of influence, definitely, because many other Rasta drummers, Ras Ivy and the family of Rastafari, and many other elders, many other Nyabingi elders who have influenced me. But when I look at the 70s, and I look at fundamentally who influenced me, and especially as a youth born in the diaspora, you see, because as the people realize I wasn't born in Jamaica, enough man thinks that Jamaica I'm born. You know what I mean? Born in the diaspora, born in England. You see me, I say, it was the elders, the main two elders who influenced me, and like I said, Ras Michael and the Sons of Negus, and Count Ossie and the mystic revelation of Rastafari.
Okay, I know a little bit about your music, and this interview thing has got me a bit hoarse, because it's not my usual.
Mm-hmm.
But within the music and the drumming, what did it do? Where did it take you?
Give
what
thanks.
sort of things did it open gate doors for you or so on?
Give thanks, Lawrence. Because crucially, because fundamentally, even the Orthodox Church where I spent some of my time, like I said, that's where the drumming started. After a while, I was dealing with the drumming even before I was incarcerated. And when I came out at the age of 15, I got out of prison before my time because my mother was sick. So I was laid out before my time.
Okay.
And when I came to Luton, there was a house on Selborne Road where the man them and the youth them used to kind of sit because it was like a focal point.
Okay.
I know I could go there and just sat in. I used to walk around with my little bongo drum. And I know I could go there. There used to be a basement downstairs where a man called Kelman and Raymond them used to have a music room. There used to be a library room. Food was cooking. Arts and craft. I went there and did time using coconut shells and carving. And so I went there one day. When I came out of the children's home, I came out of the prison for that sort of on terms and the conditions that I kept a job.
Yeah.
And I remember praying, I kept the job for about a year. And I went to that house and I used to sit there during the daytime. And a man come in called the Man Ezeke.
Okay.
And the Man Ezeke went up to a man called Huggins, Joseph. I said, Huggins, may I look at you, may I look for some youth to say, who want me a roadie, who want to get involved in the music. And Huggins pointed to the corner, because Huggins told me the story after. Huggins pointed way over to the corner, where I was sitting down by myself, with my little bongo in my lap, and just I play my bongo. And Huggins said to Zeke, man, check that youth over to the corner. And Zeke come over to me, the Man Ezeke come over to me and say, youth man. So I say, greetings, elder. He said, you want join a band? No, I'd always been praying for a band because I was saying to the Almighty, I'm not looking for a cop-out.
Yeah.
I don't mind hard work.
Yeah.
But I've just been through years of racism with white people, and I would really prefer to work for a black man.
Okay.
That was my prayers.
Okay.
I said, I don't mind discipline because when I was in prison, I had to get up to 6 o'clock in the morning and do the circuit. Now, I wasn't used to the circuit. I didn't know what this was about. And I was thrown in the deep end. Okay. And I went through some kicking and some abuse.
Okay.
Right? But I like the circuit.
Yes.
That's what I said. And after Mr. Wheat, there was definitely no need for that. That's what I said. Because all the exercises that me see, because within the circuit, you're young the first time. If you're first time in DC detention center, 6 o'clock in the morning, and them time is up you nigger. So they never feel no way to use those words. Up you nigger. And it's cold shower into the gym. And there's 15 exercises you've got to do. You cannot walk to these exercises. You've got to run.
Okay.
To these exercises. Once the man show you one time, I'm 15 years old. This is all new to me. You see what I said? And one exercise, you have to pick up dumbbell. 10 of that. 1, 2, 3. Next, run to the next one. Push up dumbbell above your head. Boom, boom, boom. Run to the next one. Lick up your chest against one beam bar and jump up. Pie 10 times. Run to the rope. Now when me run to the rope, now me couldn't climb a rope.
Okay. What happened?
Me get kicks. The white man come to me and say, get up there, you nigger. The man was kicking me, Lawrence. It's the first time I couldn't fight anybody.
Must have been difficult.
Brethren. And the hammer was with me. I'm at the same prison.
Okay.
And the man said, get up there, you nigger. I'm making this attempt to climb this rope. And now I do a slide down. Because I know nothing about foot movement.
Yeah.
The man tell me, say he's going to the toilet. He go, when I come out, I want to see you up there, boy. While the man go to the toilet, one brethren show me how to put my foot. He said, brethren, put your foot so. Boom, boom. And pull yourself up. Brethren,
did it work?
it worked, Lawrence. It worked wonders. But you know what? I couldn't get down. Lawrence, when the white boy come out, I say, all right, nigga, come down. Don't sleep. Nobody never tell me overcome down, King man. when me slide down and burn off the wall of my hand in the king.
Yeah. I know everyone in the studio is laughing. It's not funny, but
Thank you.
looking back.
Looking back.
It's looking back.
When we go through in England. You see me I say, King?
But as you said, it helped you with discipline when you was approached to join a band. So tell us what happened from there.
Well, listen, the Man Ezeke says to me, all right. He said, all right, see, you man, since you want to join a band, meet me tomorrow morning. Them time it was winter time, snow a dropping in England. And I met it the next morning, and he had me waiting 1 hour under the snow that nearly reached my knee. Because I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
And the spirit told me to no, even though, oh God, don't move from where you're there.
Okay.
And when I met Zeke, and Zeke turned up in them Cortina, one of them one-time Cortina box I car, right? And he said, you man, him deliberately turn up late.
To see how...
To test me.
Okay, it was a test.
Yeah, it was a test. Right? Because him see me as a little Rasta youth, and then I try to suss me out as a little Rasta youth.
Okay.
Yeah? And from that time, Zeke said, all right, boom, start training me as a roadie, how to pack a van. Before me go up on stage, him start take me go to island. He said, all right, me I take you go to the training ground. He take me go to island.
Yeah.
It's about 13 times we go to island before we go abroad.
Okay.
Down South Island, a place called Ewell and Cork and Bandon and Limerick. You see me I say? And Dublin.
And when you was down there, what was you doing?
I was doing setting up the stage, unpacking the van with the equipment, because the van was a Ford Transit van where one of my brethren them lick up the rooftop, built an extension, built in some seats so that 13 people could sit in the van. And an extension at the back. So we're putting the whole of our equipment, 13 man sat in, and we're building some heavy speaker box to drop some reggae music.
Okay.
And we're bomb and we drive down to Dover, go up on the ferry, and Zeke just lead the way, them time them in my element because it's a venture. You see me I say, as a youth, 15 years old, no worries, I'm not married, no children. It was just my concern for my mother. And I was hoping that I could use this way and try and make some money for my mother. Anyway, we go to Ireland. Ireland was like the training ground, because we did a lot of pub gigs, a lot of festival. That means I had to learn how to set up the stage, how to set up a PA, how to set up the equipment, how to break it down, how to fold up wires, then how to load everything up in the van, because the van's got to be balanced.
Yeah.
When the man is drive, the art of balance, you can't just throw anything in, so.
Yeah. Yes.
And then on top of that, you got the big roof rack, because you got 13 people in the van, and everybody have suitcase and luggage. Everything can't come in the van. So you have to know how to type everything on top of the roof rack, and how to use rope and string off and tie off like a soldier.
Okay, so in the beginning when you was touring with the band, were you actually playing with the band?
No.
Okay,
Roadie.
And how did that come about? Because I know you were eventually involved in the band.
Yes, because I always wanted to go on the stage.
Okay.
Me say, when this man them going to make me go up on stage, man, I bonga drum my beat, you know. You see what I say? And like Zeke said, no, you have to get the training. And I appreciate that now, and I can see that. And that was crucial training to get the foundation of the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I learned to do that. And then I think my first appearance became abroad, Monte Carlo.
Okay, so all that time hadn't played, and you're actually leaving to go to Monte Carlo.
All that
I
time.
don't even know where that is.
Right, thank you. And people assume says that the end of the year is in France.
Okay.
Yeah, but Monte Carlo, Monaco has their own independency through Princess Grace and Prince Reina of Monaco.
Okay.
And but what we did, we were doing tours. Like I said, we spent a lot of our time to and from with Ireland and this place. And then what we were doing. I was doing still engineering before we went to Monte Carlo. Where we were spotted before we were invited to Monte Carlo was at the London Hilton. After coming from doing a lot of gigs in Ireland, we had a 6-week contract at the Hilton Hotel on the West End.
Okay.
You see, so every evening I used to leave Luton and drive down to London. Zeke used to come from Leighton Buzzard, pick me up at Luton. In the evening time, daytime we just relax and just chill out. Evening time is showtime down the Hilton Hotel down the West End of London. We were doing that for 6 consecutive weeks. It's during that, one of those sessions, that Princess Grace of Monaco and her husband Prince Reynald was there. and they invited us to our first summer season in Monte Carlo. Because even at the Hilton Hotel at that time, I wasn't on stage. I was doing the sound engineering.
Yeah.
Those time I was wearing a bow tie, white shirt, bow tie, and tuxedo with my crown, because I have locks and I have my white crown, and I was known as Prince Zebby.
Okay. And when you realized you was going to Monte Carlo, how did you feel?
May I tell you, Lawrence, how me feel? When I grew up, I used to watch a program called Fantasy Island.
Yes, I know the one.
You know the wildfire?
Yes.
I felt like, they said, what? And when I got there, it was like, I said, I tell you, man, it was like amazing. Because it was like a dream country, because I always wanted to get involved in the music industry, but the spirit and the ancestors always told me about the corruption that was involved in the music industry. Because at those times, everybody wanted to be Bob Marley and go plant them seeds all about the place. You see me? So, amongst other things, I was aware of a lot of people embarking upon in that part side of the industry for different motives. But I always said to the universe and to the ancestors that I was prepared for my tests. I wanted to see if if I could go through the music industry and, not get involved in drugs and all the drug taking and the womanizing and sleeping about. You see me? I say, but yet same time knowing that it was right there at my disposal if I wanted it. You see me? I say, and so the opportunity to go to Monte Carlo and everything was a beautiful test. You see me? I say, just like traveling the world. What I come in and say, you want to talk to me, partner? So what go on there, so?
Yeah, and now I'm still in Monte Carlo.
Yes.
This is your first time you're going to be on stage in front of royalties.
In terms of royalties.
How did that feel, and how did you get on?
What a buzz, Mr. Lawrence Palmer. But I tell him, man, my man, the van, we drove on the ferry. We drove from the van come and pick me up from Leighton Buzzard. Okay. In a full transit van. Zeke had a particular horn. We call the van Herbie. And he had a horn, all a particular sound. Okay. Like I said, 13, 15 hours. The first trip, there was about 15 of us in the van.
Yeah.
Right? We drive on to Dover, the ferry. When we drive out, because the van have red, gold, and green flag a fly. Man, them a burn ganja. Some of the man them a burn ganja split and come out of the window. And we are drive through France. Now, when you drive through France, now Monaco is independent. And it's only when you go there you realize the levels.
Okay, yeah.
You realize the turn off. When we turn off now and drive down the side, which says Monaco, within 15 seconds, 20 seconds, before we know it, police surround we. Them time they had the Doberman dogs.
Yeah.
And the guns. Because and ahead of you, you can see all the tourist people in my head, because they used to travel and look down into Monaco, because that's private.
Okay.
You got to be somebody to be driving down into Monaco. Because Monaco's got their own police, it's totally independent. Yeah. So, but you have all the tourism overhead looking down into Monaco. So when they saw us driving down to Monaco, everybody said, uh-oh, they've made a wrong turn.
Yeah.
Before we know it, boom, police, dogs, everything's around me. When the man then said, when the policeman talking in French, because it's French still, and the Man Ezeke said, pull out him, Monsieur Zeke. And the man said, who? Like, Zeke, pull out an invitation and pull out a card. Yeah. Give to the policeman. Yeah. Which did it with him gun. And then Doberman pinch a dog. And the dog, them look probably like they want lunch.
I'm hungry. Yeah.
When the man look on the seal, upon the invitation, and everybody overhead, Lawrence, I look to see how we have to go turn back. Yeah.
This van full of, were you all Rastafarian?
No, mixture van of white, Indian, black, woman, female, nice mixture. But most of we have long hair.
Okay.
I red, gold, and green flag and fly. When the man them look on his Zeke, and Zeke say, because them tell the Zeke have beads in them dreadlocks. I say, Monsieur Zeke. And the man them look, and then him calling the police officer, him calling him partner, and him look too. The man them have to just make space. Open the gate and make me drive through. You ask the people that over and look and start applause to blow. Hey, man, tell them, man, what a time. The first time in Monte Carlo. You see me, I say, we're breaching. I was one of the first Rasta man to enter Monte Carlo Sporting Club. Them time that Bjorn Borg was winning all them Wimbledons. Bjorn Borg sit right opposite the city way. Roger Moore get up and come to the band and say, oh, can you sing a birthday song for my song, please? That's Roger Moore. And then when we do that, we say, yeah, man. Zeke say, huh! Every time I hear Zeke say so, it means the band must drop something off the cuff. You don't see the drum go, boom, boom. And you know, say one drop of a come in. And Roger Moore get him birthday song and buy the band a big buckle of champagne and say, go and enjoy that.
Well, we're concentrating on you. You're talking about band. How did you? Because as you say, it's the first time. You're in Monte Carlo.
Yes.
There's royalty. And you're going to perform live. Were you nervous?
Nervous like puss. It's so bad because no matter how good you with the band, one thing I used to love with Zeke, when Zeke rehearsed the band, it's like a 12-hour rehearsal.
Okay.
Zeke used to tell us personally, he's from James Brown schooling. So Zeke rough in a rehearsal,
Yeah, okay.
Everything's got to be perfect.
Okay.
The percussion, everything. Them time, anything I did, the whole band, so daytime. So yeah, it was never because you notice also if you go on stage and you make something wrong, you know Zeke would blaze you there and then on the stage, regardless who it is. You see me I say? And Zeke had a partner where he does fire eating, right? And the rehearsal was when it come to fire eating, Kush starts off the drumming.
Okay.
Because I've had to learn Latin. Because Zeke said him no want a Nyabingi feel.
Okay.
He want Latin feel. So the Latin feel is do back, do back, do back, do back, do back, because they might eat fire and I got the energy. You have, Virgin, I got to make sure I do at least 50 press ups before I go on stage. Because if you don't do at least 50 press ups, the whole of your arm seize up in a minute. The whole of your arm seize up. You have to, because I've got 3 Congo, do back, and my man I eat fire and I put fire and I roll fire down his skin and I go out with things and next thing you know limber down because it was a cabaret also, so we have the band and a big cabaret. I'm part of the percussionist section. So my personal experience was beautiful because Princess Grace, when I met Princess Grace personally and she came on to me, she says, "Oh, I noticed your name is Prince Zebby. Are you a real prince?"
Okay. And what did you say?
What did I say? I said, well, yes, of course. Them time there, I started by doing the engineering. That time I had my bow tie and my tuxedo and my white chrome lock. I said, yes. I'm a royal prince. She goes, where from? I said, a royal prince of Ethiopia. She goes, oh. Her response, she goes, oh, Haile Selassie. I said, yes. So she says, oh, what are you doing in England? I said, I'm in exile. I am a student of the king studying law and hopefully one day to return home.
Okay. So, how many shows did you do in Monte Carlo and where else did that?
Well, let's say Monte Carlo was thunderable because Monte Carlo was 3 consecutive summer seasons. So one summer season means 3 months.
Oh, that long?
Means 3 months. That 3 months means performing 7 nights a week. That 7 nights a week mean 4-hour, 1-hour sets each evening. Right? And anybody who's a conga player, most less is a musician, right? When you're playing Latin and you're do back, do back, back. Yes, and you've done that for 4 hours one night, your hands are sore. But remember, you've got 6 more nights to do for the week, and when that 6 nights done, you still got to country. You've got 3 months of that.
So how did you manage?
With blood over my Congos. Zeke said he's never met a Congo player like me who shed so much blood, who refused to stop. Because Zeke used to do fire eating, and the fire eating used to be on a level, and the players, the dimension odd. You see what I say? So, and I used to go, you know what I mean? The drumming to me is a spiritual journey. So I never used to realize what's going on until I'm done. And when I'm done, I see the Congo blows up. Next morning, my finger them sore. Bad. Blood that blister up everything. The daytime, I have a bandage up. And guess what? I've got a show to do the evening. 4 1-hour shows.
That must have been some ordeal.
That's how you become a master drummer.
Okay.
And then it created cancer in my fingers. Yeah, you know, so that folks, it's all about the legends myself. Kush says, welcome to the vibration. Do feel free to interact and ask any questions. Yes, Lawrence.
You know, it's like I can see time is running and passes, and we haven't even touched into it because I know a little bit about you. But some of what you were saying, I did not realize. I noticed you had disappeared, but I didn't know where. From the drumming, I know that it took you into another path where you gave back to the community, in a sense, some of that skills and so on. How did you get involved in it? And tell us a little bit about what that's about.
That's vital also to remember to balance things in the universe, to receive and also to give back. So yeah, that's good. After traveling for 8 consecutive years, yes, Monte Carlo, India, Germany, France, all around the world. And like I said, Monte Carlo was just one aspect, but it was 8 consecutive years of traveling. After the 8 consecutive years, when I returned back to Luton. When I returned back to Luton, it was what to do next. That's when Zeke started the Sunshine Show at BBC Three Candies Radio.
Okay,
BBC was 6 months old. So I was just like Zeke's broadcasting assistant those times. That time, during the daytime, I was delivering workshops, drumming workshops in schools. My brethren Errol Hikes, Errol John from Stevenage, had an agency and contacted me one day and says, Kush, you know what I mean? I like to deliver some drumming workshop, and if you want to give up some to the kids. So I said, yeah, go and line up where you can line up. He organized for me to work in about, at the time, four prisons. I did those for 4 consecutive years. You know what I mean? Her Majesty's prison, the Whitemoor prison, is a maximum security prison where people are doing life. When you go there, everything is under treble lock, treble key, treble gun, treble dog, etc. The little hay, the send, the mount. These prisons I did, one of the youngsters in from Luton I met in the Mount, and he might do good things. The Rapner, you mentioned him one time when I was interviewing to him, I forget his name now, but a young, I've seen face, I can't mention him there, but his name will come later on, you know.
Phil Sai?
Yes. You see me I say, met him in the Mount. You see me I say, and many youths and many people I've met when I was doing the prisons, introducing them, doing workshop and giving something back.
What did the workshop consist of?
The workshop consisted me of coming in from the international. I wasn't an academic. I was somebody who had been expelled from schools, excluded from schools, didn't complete my GCSEs, didn't complete A-levels, yes, but traveled the world. My experience was world experience and survival experience. So the workshops was about me coming in as from the professional platform also, yes, and using my drums, because I used to carry like 7-9 drums. So I would carry 9 also Congo drums. I used the drums as a foundation for ones them to knowing themselves. They were mentoring and empowerment workshops, you know what I mean, and using the drums but as a foundation.
So you feel that part of your background of having been in prison and all that helped you when you went back in there to teach and get involved with putting something in the prison as far as drumming's concerned?
Well, you see, what I realized amongst everything when I did that, Lawrence, here, what struck me every time I did those prisons was what it was like when I did time. Okay. Right? And I said, but wait, when I did time, I sleep on cold mattress. Right? In them prison, I been called a nigger. I've got to eat pork and bacon when I don't want to eat it. One time, you know what I mean? I've got to, you know what I mean? Up 6 o'clock a morning kosher. No, the higher lecture in the prison, Miss, it's weird. Them man, them have cozy bed. Them have television. One Bridget said to me, Kush, you want some food? I said, no, Bridget. He said, no, Kush, we have some food. I said, we are that, we have food. He said, no, man, I can't saltfish, rice and peas, Bridget. I said, we are said to me, King. He said, yeah, Bridget, the comparison. When I did my time, that's why I understand how now prisons are holiday camps. They're no deterrent. You see, my time, it's a deterrent. You wouldn't want to do that. Yeah. You had no television, and I mean, and the way they treated you my time, you wouldn't want to go there. When they hold me down and shave off my legs and rough me up and force me to eat pork and make me go to the circuit, 6 o'clock a morning and cold shower. Those things are a breach of human rights now. You see what I say? Well, now I realized, boy, I was a victim. You see what I say? But me cool. I was like, you know, because I understand where I'm going. But going to the prisons made me realize, boy, look at the comparison. I'm lecturing in prisons now. You see what I say? And everything is nice libraries, nice books. Brethren, the amount of man them who do degrees and master's degrees and diplomas in prison. And they say the youth, they say weird. You come like the youth, they have to go to prison for get the aspiration, for go do a diploma or a degree.
And you know, you went in a prison, was it a broad section of people, black, white?
Yes, Lawrence. Them time it was crucial to again because them time there was a broad section of people and you had to know your place.
Okay.
I was lucky that even though I'm born in England, yeah, me lucky with the Brixton Massive. Because I'm a Jamaican.
Yes.
You see me? So all the white boy them and the Indian boy them and all the other group there because you have to do guy if you stand alone, you know worries. Man want to come treat you like you was their female.
Yeah, tell me something. When you went in and you was doing the drumming, was it more on a cultural side or
all aspects? There was an holistic approach, kind of, Lawrence. Fundamentally, there was the culture, but it used to vary because sometimes in my workshop, I would have Irish people, white people, Indian people. So what I used to do is therefore focus on that link that ties us all as one. So when people assume that they were locked away in prison, you show them, say, well, no, you can be on the outside and still be in prison.
Yeah, the reason why I ask, because, as you said, when you drum, it's a Naya Bingi type of drumming you do outside of the entertainment. Did you bring any of that in prison to sort of say maybe educate in a culture that they may not have known anything about?
Nice one. Yes, King. Yeah, that was always an introduction because I felt that was, definitely imperative as part of the introduction of who I was. Okay. Yeah? Because as a Rasta man, you see me I say, so the Naya Bingi Foundation was a crucial part to make people understand my beginning, my genesis. You know what I mean? So metaphorically speaking, we use the drum again as the art of the nation, the art of the foundation, and using that and making everybody hold a simple 1-2. Because everybody could lock into that. So you were showing the Naya Bingi lick was a universal song, was a universal feel. Because everybody had a heartbeat and a pulse. You see? So that was always the foundation before we moved on to other aspects.
And just going back and coming forward, when you was young, like you say, your locks was cut off and whatsoever. How did it feel going back into prison as a Rastafarian with your locks, knowing that last time I was in these people took my locks away, not having anything like that within a prison, and you going back later on in life as a Rasta man to actually help with rehabilitation, I'd call it, of prisoners?
Yeah, that was an interesting, a powerful experience itself. Because initially, you are asked to take your hat off.
Okay.
Like when I've gone to many courts, yeah? And if you don't know yourself, you end up taking your hat off. But I explain, I don't take my hat off. I only take off my hat for God when I'm praying.
And what was their reaction? Was you allowed to keep your hat on?
Their reaction was, obviously, you have to rationalize to them understand where you come from.
Yeah.
Yeah? So you make them understand you're exercising your constitutional right based upon religion. And my religion is that of Rastafari. So that way, they cool, them take them scanner, scan it around my heart. And even now, when I go at airport, when I've gone to court, I don't take my hat off. I declare and I do what I have to do. But if I give praise in my tabernacle, like me want to draw my crown, I take off my crown for the Almighty. I don't take off my crown for no man. And I make the judge understand the rational, no disrespect to nobody, but that is my constitutional right. And I defend that. And because of the rational, it's respect, and there's respect, mutual respect, and because the thing about it with the Race Relation Act now, the Race Relation Act has helped to bring in, putting Rastafari in the same category as all other religions, giving us the same rights as Muslims, Sikhs, and all other religions.
So with this thing of going into prison, was it just prison you did? Did you do
with the schools, universities, colleges, kindergartens? You know what I mean? Youngsters from as young as 6 months old. You know what I mean? And even up to last year, I was still doing those, and people are amazed. Or we're bringing the drums. You know what I mean? To a workshop or to a kindergarten stage of about 9 mothers with 6-year-old babies sitting on their laps. And how we use the drum, give the whole of the baby them a drum and watch what go on. We done disabled. I've done workshops for people who can't see, people who cannot hear. Okay. Yeah, can't see, deaf and blind, and using it, you know what I mean, and using by the sense of feel and touch, and getting them involved in rhythm.
Yeah, because you've mentioned blind and dumb people. How was that you enable them to as you just mentioned briefly, to feel and touch.
Well, you see, you're talking to somebody now who cannot see you, for instance, so he's blind.
Yeah.
And you're talking into about a particular rhythm. After the rhythms, I like to use something like I say, happy rhythms and up tempo rhythms. Sometimes when I'm doing workshops, say like a samba rhythm, yeah. And so if you're talking to somebody who cannot see you, yeah, so therefore you hold his hands.
Okay.
You see, and you slow down the written pattern because, or he cannot see you, and even if you don't hold his hands, maybe he can't see you, but he can still hear you. So he will lose his listening skills. Yeah,
Okay.
and sometimes I can give a demonstration of the drums before even I play the drums. I use my mouth. I break it all down with my mouth. So if I say to you, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, I'm going to teach you a samba rhythm. So what the first thing I do, I play on the drum and make it dazzle you. For you to say to yourself, well, I can't do that. Yeah. Right? And then I put the drum to one side and I break it down. Like if I was to play the samba rhythm as an example now, so the people know what I deal with. Yeah, samba rhythm. Do back, do go 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 back. No, if I say Lawrence, right, Lawrence number one, you play that.
Just a question. You haven't got a drum here, have you?
You may say, and you know what? Funny enough, I have a drum in my boot in the car park. Always trouble with my drum, but that's a little bit. That would have been nice. And the thing about it, I do have some tracks, which I've brought also, which demonstrate some of my drumming playing. You know, but like I was saying, when it concerns dealing with people that maybe a disability, if somebody is blind, for instance, you know, and they can hear, I may say, well, you know, I'll play the rhythm, they'll hear that, and then they say, wow, and then I'll slow it right down, and I say, what I was doing was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you find it even on a table.
Okay.
You see, so there's ways, but it would have been lovely if I should have walked in my drum, but I'm going before the show done. Definitely give the people some demonstration of some of the other drum rhythms that I have done as a master drummer. But yeah.
And as I was saying, it's like I would need a lot more time to go through some of the things that you. So I'm going to jump up a little bit now and move forward a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Radio presenting from teaching drums, touring in a band. Radio presenting. How did that come about?
That came about. I would say my first experience came about in my private headquarters. I had a private radio station called African Genesis 77.7.
Okay.
Right.
And where was that based?
That was based in my room.
Okay.
What I used to do was produce tapes as if the shows was live. You have seminars, poetry, and send them to Africa.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Now, the first time going live, yeah, was on Area FM 94.3 in Luton.
Okay.
Set up by Rollo Lamont. He came into Luton. That time I was trying to get on LE1. Nobody wanted me on LE1 because I hadn't been on radio before.
Okay.
So I was trying to get my first bly on radio, but nobody would give me a bly. And by some chance, I don't know how I met Ronald, you know, and he had his, anyway, he had his house, his private land, and he said, boy, so I've got the transmitter and that, they just go and run the show. You know what I mean? There wasn't much DJs there at the time.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience of running a station. So we had gospel, you know what I mean, seminars, discussions, because we were being monitored by the DTI, and often the time they came around a couple of times. And I saw how Ronald dealt with them diligently, you know what I mean, by saying, do you mind coming off my land? This is private land. And they asked them, what is their concern? And when I said, don't you observe that when you observe our show, we are a community station. We're not private. We're dealing with issues against rape, violence, drug and crime. So my first experience here was Area FM. I always have to give respect and big up to Ronald Lamont, because that time was a crucial time with Area FM 94.3. Some of my memorable moments. Enough of those tapes even now are still going around in the Gambia. Big up, Smiling West Coast, Mama Africa. Give thanks.
Yeah. Do you know, as far as the radio presenting is concerned, and you come from a music background, why did you choose speech as opposed to, like a lot of other people, just play music?
I think it's because in life, you find out that it comes naturally as you're evolving, because the first thing you got to ask yourself is, what is music about? And music is about information. So even when I didn't want to talk, you know what I mean? Because, you know, when you're ignorant, but when you grow with knowledge and wisdom and understanding, you're going to share that. You see what I say? And you realize that the whole objective of music is about delivering a message and informing our people and stimulating our people. So initially, because I'm a very shy person, I'm a kind of a laid-back person, I'm a Virgo spirit, and you know what I mean. Initially, I did like the idea of just playing music, but then you realize that after a while, when you listen to other things, you're hearing that boy say, we're growing with wisdom and we're growing with knowledge, and the stimulation is not rocking it. You know, so I realize that boy, so I have to share the wisdom that I'm growing with, and you know, and when I do research on music, I realize it's, you know, there's a holistic approach. Music is a mission, and it's about trying to, you know, inform and to stimulate. And I've always been focused on what the objective of music is about. So even when I sometimes don't want to do no research, sometimes I just feel like I'm a one day playing music. My conscience always say, no, so it go. Remember the mission and the purpose of music. Inform, do your research, know what is what. It's a message, because it's not about my ego. It's about knowing there's an audience out there and that there's a message to deliver.
Yeah, I know you've talked about music, but what I meant in the sense was, a lot of your programs, you've got cultural music in it, but you tend to interview people about issues. So that's what I was trying to get to, was why not just play music, talk about music, but
give thanks.
In that sense, I meant because I see you more as a talk show person, as of opposed to someone that just plays music, even though you talk about. So that was what I was.
Give thanks. Elder Lawrence, because that vital to, because you find out that in life, growing up, you realize that people are always moaning and groaning. You know what I mean? And I grew up being influenced by the various elders them, and oftentimes me saying, I mean, it's either people person be a part of the solution or the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, and then I realized there were issues to discuss, because I realized even myself, you know, even with looking up, you know what I mean, whatever my concerns were, whatever my upsets were, you know, and whatever I was concerned about, I realized at the end of the day, these are discussions to be discussed. And, you know, and you realize, I know, and even I myself realized there was a lot of things that wasn't really being discussed. And that really, to move on, we really had to discuss things. You know, so, and because I have a great passion for learning and for wisdom, you know, is why I say, well, boom. You know, it's very important to try and find out, to interview people, so that people have to understand that, and have to ask themselves, well, where do they play a part? Because sometimes we look on all the problems, whether it's sex abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, alcohol abuse, and we have, you know, and my concern is that our people are conscious of where they stand in the scheme of things. You know, so I like to talk to the artists and to the music to find out, even with the issues that everybody comment upon, where do they stand in the scheme of things? Are people a part of the solution, or are they a part of the problem? Because it's so easy to talk about problems, but where do people really stand in the scheme of things? Where do they stand? And sometimes my discussion programs, me try to answer your question. This is what I say.
Yeah. I've got someone online that's actually want to ask you a question. I believe it's P. Stevenson.
Okay.
That must be the magnetic promotion.
Okay, all right.
Going back to wisdom, she wants to know, do you think that the young people understand the knowledge and the understanding reach to the young people? Wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah, I don't think it's fully reaching the young people as it should, because again, I think one of the vital medias or mechanisms used again is the music. Some of the youth them are locking to the right music. Some of them are locking to the wrong music. This is why we find them whenever youth them, they are searching their instinct and their spirit as well, because the youth them, they come ready to deal. Yeah. But sometimes the guidance they are getting, the examples that's been set before them, you see me say, is what is conflicting and confusing. You see? And again, because of that, the youth them are having to have to search and to find, and oftentimes when we think it's the youth them are going around, there's a bigger picture involved, because the youth them, first thing they're looking at is the examples that are set in their home. So, you know, so some of the wisdom and some of the messages is not reaching the youth them like it should, because what they witness is too much hypocrisy. Certain man has said certain things, certain woman has said certain things, but when they look at the liberty, they're not seeing the talk is the same as the walk. So it's because of that, some of the youth, them have to go the long way around. Sometimes some of them end up believe that they've gone on through the Muslim and gone through other levels of consciousness before them come round and find out really what's going on. You know, so yeah, it's sad to say a lot of the youths them are not getting the message like, oh, we used to get it because we did locking on a particular music which give we the message and the consciousness and the focus. And some of the music and the youth them locking on have them on a different levels, have them on a different frequency and a different energy. But at the same time, you can't blame them because oftentimes their instinct is correct, but it's the guidance is where the problem is, and that's where it comes with the elders.
Okay. And as I was saying, time is going and running and passing, but sticking with the radio, I believe from your room to a community station.
Yes.
And then you moved on to hit fame.
BBC.
How did that come about?
Well, it's interesting because some of the man says no big thing that Lawrence. They say, it's just a little BBC. It's just a BBC free country. That's not a big thing. It's not the real thing. It's not the real thing. I saw some guy thinking, to me, some guy that talking, BBC or BBC.
Yes, boss.
BBC is BBC.
Yeah. Never mind those people. Tell us how you got involved,
but
and how that came about.
That I was involved in BBC initially when BBC was 6 months old. That's with the Man Ezeke. As a broadcast, and so me and Zeke worked together. So when BBC was standing 6 months old, we did that. So, yeah, I stayed with Zeke for 8 years as the assistant and broadcasting assistant. I departed, went to university, did my thing, went on another journey. And then came the opportunity to embark upon BBC independently as a journal, in my own right. So if we're talking about that stage now,
well, that's where I was getting at, because
that stage,
mentioning being there assisting Ezeke for 8 years, even I didn't know that.
Right.
So I just knew of when Kush is on the radio.
Yeah. In total, I've done 15 years at BBC. Yeah, and enough of the man them know it and are trying to hide it. Enough of the youth leaders and the leaders and them know what's going on. I want people to hide it. Yeah, so I've done 15 years at BBC Three Counties Radio. And when you go to BBC and get a report on me, when you see all my appraisal reports, when you see the last report from BBC, yeah, it is there for the world to see. You can see what BBC said. And when you go and find out, when I was there, it was interesting because it was a beautiful experience when we first get there, because many people thought, oh, well, there you go, he's sold out now. He's at BBC, so he's a sellout. So that was another thing it said. But the whole thing came about through, I think, and again, I've got two stories, because I don't know, but because I hear said it was a Blackerton initiative, and then I hear Patrick Markle and said it was AWCDF instigated it. So I'm not too sure. All me know is Blackerton call me.
Yeah.
From my history, is Blackerton call me. Tell me says he's got a project that he want to put forward at BBC. Yeah, them time that we were on LUR.
Yeah.
I wasn't interested. I said Blackerton in a business about BBC.
So what changed your mind?
Blackerton persuaded me. He said to me, Kush, without you, I can't go ahead with it. I need your support.
And why do you think that was?
He says specifically because he says he knew that the culture and the spiritual religious part of the program was vital, and it's only me could deliver that.
Well, that's what I was trying to get to.
Yes.
And that's, again, going back to why I ask you about, instead of music, you play your music, but you want to talk to people about life and what's there. And just going back slightly, I heard you mention you went to university because, like myself, you left school with no GCSEs, no CSEs, no nothing.
Yeah.
But you went on later on. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they said that crossroad was crucial. You see what I'm saying? Because I grew up with enough elders saying, but yeah, we don't deal with Babylon school and we don't deal with Babylon university. We built the pyramids. We're the first philosophers. We built pyramids and we built with medicine, maths, etc. And then I sat down one day meditating, you know what I mean, on a good high grade. And I said, well, I can't do none of those things nowadays. You know what I mean? I can't do carpentry. I can't do anything. So, again, traveling made me come to that crossroad to respect, educate. It's by traveling. It's only when I traveled and spent time in France, Germany, Ireland, Sweden, Switzerland, You see me, I say Morocco, Marrakesh, New Delhi, Israel, and many parts. It's only then I realized how powerful it was to have education. Because the King, His Imperial Majesty, when he had been guiding me, he'd always said education was the key. So I was always influenced by the teachings of Marcus Garvey and His Majesty on the significance of education, but same time, with the confliction between elders them and going to these schools and these Babylon universities, it was a confliction because, so life became we teacher. We were told that life became we experience. So after traveling, when I traveled, and it's when I conversed with Princess Grace of Monaco, and when I was conversing with some of the princesses and the princes and the dukes and the duchesses them, is when I realized that I had to articulate. May I tell you, Bridget, because if it wasn't for the Bible, I would have freeze. May I tell you, I may give thanks to Mr. Man because I'm telling you, me every in the Bible, every. And it allowed me to display dignity and etiquette. I mean, I was even to His Majesty's speeches so I could choose the right words. And when I came back, I said, whoa, may I go to university, may I go learn.
Okay.
You see what I said? Traveling the world made me realize the importance of education because it expanded my mind, it expanded my consciousness. Yeah? And because there's a bigger, even though I had one particular school of thought or maybe one way of looking at life at the time, traveling made me look at life a different way. Because I lived in France, Germany, Holland, Israel, and amongst all different kind of people. And I found that common link that tied us all together. So I said, what a realization, what a journey. You see what I'm saying? So to come back to Luton, I said, boom, let me go up on the access course. Because I'm in the business when anybody tell me about Babylon College and Babylon, I go access course. Go do some social studies. And so, you see what I say? I'm from the access course, you know what I mean? I went into the HND, Higher National Diplomacy in Public Administration, the legal pathway, where I was the first to graduation ceremony. You see what I say? And, and that was against us. Man, them say, hey, Chuck, give the boy a couple of weeks. The boy now last. Hey, brethren, because I was adamant in doing it with the locks on my head. Because everybody tell me, you cannot do an HND with locks on your head. My brethren, Derek Spalding, shave off him locks because he believed that. You see what I say? But see, me was one of them who said, me not shave my locks for nobody. Because my locks should have nothing to do with it. Look upon my countenance and my character and my works. Like His Majesty's speeches until the philosophy. I'm going to go through university. I was doing the HND. And I did NVQ 1, NVQ 2, NVQ 3, Office Business Administration. Then I was doing paralegal courses in my Rondon and the West End every weekend. And the rest of the intensive course, a solicitor paralegal course where now I'm a qualified paralegal. Then we go to the Institution for Legal Executives. I'm going to do a paralegal course and I'm going to give me a distinction there. So, brethren, I was starting to click it like it was a hobby. Then we go up on the brethren. Me say weird. And then I realize me not get the money, no grant, no free again. Me have to pay for everything. So, me get students loan and me end up in a debt.
do you know, we're running out of time, but you see the education side of it, I'm really interested in. And I'd love to be able to, at another time, have a full discussion about education and the importance because of, as you say, our young people. When I came in first, I heard you talking about people don't come to you to do certain things within a town. And I'm glad was able to highlight some of your skills, your qualification, and your knowledge. But that is one of the big problems that we have. It seems like within our community, there are certain people that, as you would say, get funding, and there's people right here that can do a job. Because my belief, and one of the things when it comes to music brings people together. With some of the problems that we're having, somebody like yourself, not just with a music background, a background of different parts of the world, different aspects, would be somebody that would be ideal to be able to do that.
Well,
what's your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts on that, Lawrence, is beautiful. And that's why, because of that, we don't complain about things. When we try to work together with people and people don't want to work together, we do what like I've done. I've now found my own company. I'm a company director, managing director of my own companies, the Kush More Arts and Media Services Foundation. Yeah, you're going to the company house to see it registered. Yes, as a legal company. So we don't just moan, but what we were saying, how nice it would be to work together. But since you don't want to work together with the Rasta man, no problem. You see me I say? Because there's another part of the African struggle that's been neglected. You see me I say? So, the Rasta youth them, because like I said, I get many people coming to me about this, and I'm saying, I'm not paid, and I don't have the resources either to be dealing with a lot of what people feel approachable to come to me and talk about, you know what I mean? But yeah, these organizations who call themselves the umbrella organizations, you see me I say? There's a part of the African community also, which is the Rastafari aspect, which I and I represent. That's why we say oftentimes when you see me there on the radio, my views don't necessarily represent the old views of SFDC radio. My views as a person, as a Rasta man. Yes? Because we have a big family on there, so. But organizations who claim to be the umbrella organizations of the Luton and the three counties, ask yourself, which part of you represent Rastafari, another spiritual aspect of the African community? And I and I there, I don't want this, I and I, we must just keep quiet about it. But we don't get stressed. We are trying to show the youth them say, we have formed different organizations. Organizations are formed. Those who don't want to work with it, because sometimes we believe everybody bona fide until them show themselves that they're not bona fide. You see me say, a tree is known by its fruits. And we summons for organizations, if you come on the store and come on the radio station and come talk to the people them. You see me say, make the people them know what's going on, because like we say, oftentimes you don't need a whole heap of organizations being farmed. But no, yes, like I said, my organization, my company is farmed, and again, I'm already delivering workshops through school, like the all-girls school, in fact, as a matter of fact, was it Denby Girls, which one is the all-girls, the Denby? Yeah. Denby Girls School is an all-girls school.
And the other one's Chorley Girls.
I think it was, Chorley. I think it was Chorley Girls, yes.
Yeah. So we're going to go to an ad break.
Yes.
I think we're looking at, management's looking at, because I believe that we need another show. I say why, because I haven't even spoke about your connections to Africa and what you're doing there, and yet you'll have a lot of people saying things what they're doing, right? But you don't even broadcast it of what you're doing. So we're going to go to a ad break now, and I think my time of the interview is up. I don't know if it's going to continue after with another person.
Yeah, man, fantastic facts. We know they're going to come.
Because, Kush is a man that we could be here for days.
I truly learn.
And
we are warm.
I want to thank you for the opportunity
give thanks
me to come in to ask, because I really believe that people out there need to know a little bit more about you, because you are somebody people see and don't realize your background, your skill, your knowledge, and what you went through. Left school with nothing to being something. Now, isn't that a good role model to the youngsters out there? Why are they not using it? On that note,
give thanks.
The music will come in.
Honorable SFDCRadio.com, a much of the world.
We're locked into the A1 station. Special good. I want to give thanks to the Honorable Lawrence Palmer, the elder. Yes, living elder, living legend. Coming in, and we give thanks and praise for all the sentiments, because it's all about each one teach one, and it's all about each one know each other and be able to define it, because people always know people and defining people. You see me, so this is about knowing who I am there upon SFDC radio, and a lot to the history, a lot to the liberty, and life is about a journey. So we're about to share a journey with the I them originally every time. When I was born, we didn't give a touch upon it from Mr. Lawrence, but when I was born, my birth name, because like I said, there's many aspects of it before we continue with the vibration, because say Mr. Fantastic Silver Fox will come in originally also every time, and fundamentally, some people hear me and I wonder if it's the same person, because when I was at university, and with Lawrence we talk about my university time, but I was by a different name. I was known as Quasi. In fact, when you see all my university certificates, it's Quasi Genesis. Yeah, and some people don't realize that Quasi, Kush, Zebediah, Floyd, Lied, the whole of them is the same person. You see me I say? So even today, sometimes I walk downtown, you hear man say, Floyd! Anybody who call me that, me say, blow about that person never come from ancient times. For call me that. Because that's a particular dispensation, a particular era in my life. My birth name was Floyd Alex Campbell. get the record straight. Bless you, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, guide us on the way home, give thanks every time. Part 2, Mr. Lawrence Palmer, the LSA when come through, we give thanks for that every time. Show us a blessing. Yeah, so just so people know that, just remember that fundamentally my name was Floyd Alex Campbell. Through my parents, them change. Yes, the Kush, Tahuti, Kwezi, Zebediah, Genesis. I'm talking about 36 years ago now. Yes, give thanks and praises. Fantastic facts, so we are say King.
Yes. Sir Kush, Genesis. Yeah, man. And I must say, impressed with the part that Lawrence Palmer done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Very good interview. You can see that is someone who know you from a very long time.
Yes, King.
And that was great. Well, oh, me and your part start now is by a question that someone asked me to ask you. And the question is, where did you get the sir from? Because you were known as Kush Genesis, and all of a sudden you became a sir.
Well, listen, that question we don't have to hesitate because the name Sir come from the fantastic Silver Fox himself, to get straight to the point. See, because fantastic Silver Fox meet me at BBC. And he come at BBC and see me go on with certain things and feel a certain spirit, and Fox I go and big up Jamaican artists and them I go on with the works same time, and he realize that boom, even though me there at BBC, but he like say this lion name knows me no compromise. You see me say with the whole liberty. You know, and when they say what go on, it's very few man recognize the works I and I do. And Fox come and Fox say, boy, so when me let me say me leave BBC, him say, boom, I like we for work together. So me say, yeah man, alright, because me see say, him a try. A whole bunch of things the people fight him down, and me realize that there's a whole bunch of things never work out the way my life will work out at the time. But me realize that there's something about this brethren, yeah. And there's something about him, in a sense, was linked in with Marcus Garvey. Because, you know what I mean, him fly the Jamaican fly and the flag and concern about the youth, and he's a family-orientated kind of person. So I say, yeah, I work with this man, yeah. And I have a radio station, so I say, we become partners of an independent station. And when the brethren tell me, say, oh, him see me, and or him acknowledge me and recognize me, and the man tell me, say, boys, you know, and, you know, it's only a couple man really express them level of recognition, because, you know, I just kind of do what I have to do without looking for praises. That's something I say, because, you know, I get my rewards from Mama Earth and the Father of creation. That's something I say. So it's very few people come up to me and say, boy, it's a coach, you know what I mean? The works I go out, I wish I go out. Man like you should not make it long time. And it's interesting because I believe him too, because I understand what he must say, because it's a big fight I get as a Rasta youth in this town, Luton town, and people who fight against I, because I is Rasta and have dreadlocks upon my head. Yeah, so me don't know that and don't feel the consequences. I'm not talking about the white people, and specifically like the black people. And some of them people now come back around through the back door, and I use the Rasta bagwagon and the cultural bagwagon, and I make funding money and I claim money. But good luck to them in there, because the university will deal with it, and the university will deal with them, and the universe will deal with them. You see me I say? But I mission is a different mission. You see me I say? Where we there amongst other things. You see me I say? For those guys, you know, you see me I say, facts, and just take the journey upon the levels we have to take it upon right now, you know. So.
All right then, Sir Kusham. So, in your opinion, most of Luton see me as an outsider then, yeah? And you're here performing good works, which I can see, and I saw there and then. So why you feel they were blind to that fact?
Well, it's interesting because I know when you called me sir, it was the most way you were trying to find a way to show me the maximum respect. And that's why, even though I know some people may not dealing with the sir and blah, blah, but I understand the spirit behind your intention. I say, boy, that's a, you know what I mean? Because I know I'm above sir, I'm a rasta, I'm a lord, I'm a sovereign, I'm a king, you know what I mean? But I understand the spirit behind your recognition. So I say, that's quite interesting. Because, you know what I mean, the little lion you try, show me the maximum respect. by calling me Sir Kush, like how the Queen them will unite anybody else. And I say, yeah, because what's always been important to me is how my people see me. This message, you know what I mean? It's not so much important to me in how other nations them see me. So for you seeing me in that light was illuminating, was stimulating, was honorable for me, because many people don't know that but choose to fight against that for whatever reasons, because like I said, nowadays there seem to be more economical reasons, because when it comes to dealing with any solution to do with the black community, you can't leave Rasta out of the problem, because we are dealing with health. If you are dealing with health, we are telling about holistic health from the morning, nutritional health and everything, you know. So, you know, to see a man like you come from out of town and give me a recognition, I say, all right, cool, because I don't know, say, it's not about me sounding my own trumpet, I don't call myself sir. Man come and say, come because I see the works, they can realize, and yet me don't know, say, me cannot shut because I know so there's more to me, you don't even know. And yet with the little listen me I do, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's only a couple of months, rather than months, the next man who showed me a lot of respect. And, you know, when I was on LUR radio, and I couldn't get on LUR, it's true, rather than months, me get on LUR radio. You see what I say? Because he was a secret partner along with Steve Knight. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's interesting, like I said, with myself, that you see what I say, as a man who come from London, a man them chant down, you know, so people want to know why it's Sir Kush, a silver, fantastic silver, decides to say Sir Kush Genesis on SFDC radio. So we give thanks for that, you know what I mean? If a man wants to see me as a sir, we give thanks, because we don't know if it's a good spirit and a good intention. Man a ras still, man is a man still, man is a lord still, man is a king still. So you know what I mean? So we give thanks for all the acknowledgement and all the different levels of realization, because what we look at is the spiritual intention behind the word.
Yes, sir. And so after all said and all done, what is the mission?
Well, the mission, even there, so the mission has always been the same with consistency. The mission is to know yourself. Know yourself. Know yourself. And for me, the mission has always been to know myself, know my purpose in life, and to fulfill that purpose in life. It's a message, and to understand the whole purpose in life. And that purpose, my mission is using music. When I'm here on the radio, I use the media as a means to communicate and to convey and to converse. You see me say, and to educate and to stimulate and to inform. You see me, so that people are able to understand, say, yeah, wow, there are different school of thoughts. You see me say, and people can learn different things. You see me say, without people, you know what I mean, wanting to tell them that you can't learn this and you can't learn that. You see me say, my personal mission is Africa is the ultimate mission, because I need to return to the energy and the source of my life, which is Africa. You see me say, that has been my mission. I am an African in the diaspora. I wasn't born in Jamaica. I wasn't born in Africa. I was born in England. England is where I was born. But I'm not an Englishman. So my mission, using the music, and you know, fundamentally, the first mission with my ancestors them say is first know yourself. History has been my guide for me knowing myself. But know myself, and say, with that, I discover my skill and how best to use my skill, like I said, to serve humanity. The radio is being great, because with the media, you're lucky with the whole of the universe. So that way you're lucky with the whole of humanity. You see me say, and it's one of the sacred missions of my journey.
All right, Sir Kush. I know you were on LUR before, right? And you moved from LUR to BBC Three Counties, yeah?
Yes.
Now you're here on SFDCradio.com. What is the difference being on LUR then to BBC, and now you're on SFDCradio.com?
And listen, and again, with life, everything evolves. And that again was a progressive stage. LUR, being on LUR was a chance for I and I to show the authorities them so well when they're there for sight here to the right, we're there to deal with community issues, gun crime, knife crime, you see what I say, sex abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. So LUR was a good platform, because we know say when we're doing the shows we're mindful that the DTI and the authorities them are monitoring us at all times. So you don't know, so you're being monitored. You see what I say? So, you know what I mean? So you're illegal, but you say, boy, so we're going to take a chance and prove to the people and say, well, we're not here to incite hatred and rage. So that gave us the opportunity to know to move from Dessa now to BBC, because BBC see them don't know how to go on, and we prove a point that we were a community station, not a set of pirates. You see what I say? Who are dealing with some kind of grab and flee, because we were dealing with real issues and tapping into our community. So it was an evolving stage and a development stage. You see what I say? From LUR to BBC, and then from BBC to SFDC radio, to a more development stage. These are the Ikes at the moment, and the reason why it's the Ikes, because it's independent. You see what I say? I am not limited, because everything has a limit. BBC reached a stage where I was only limited now to deal with the 3 counties, for instance, Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire, and Buckinghamshire. So my audience had to be limited. You see me, I say, where before there was a possibility of dialoguing and liaising with the international world, because many of my subjects them and topics them were not only of local issues, but they had national effect and international and global effect. So I needed to have the freedom to liaise with my people and globally. I was losing that on BBC.
Yes.
Only now I've got that to the level that it's never been.
All right, Sir Kush. I know a lot of your part of your shows have involved interviews. Can you name some of the artists them that I know you've interviewed Chronics at an early stage while you were on BBC, but from moving from there, can you name some of the artists them that you've interviewed right here on SFDCRadio.com?
SFDC, oh gosh, man. Barry Biggs, yeah, them artists are living legends. You see me, I say, Donna Marie, yes, we're saying, Cotton Pickle, Nereus Joseph, Empress Iola, Lioness Fonts,
Bonnie Wheeler.
Bonnie Wheeler, Ninja Man. Oh, did we get Ninja
yes,
Man?
Yes, we do a slight bit of Ninja Man.
Yeah. Whoa. Wally but artists, because they see them, you know what I mean? Keznandi, Kiini, you know what I mean? Raskiini. Oh, I tell you, the Empress, who did I come up on the tour? Empress, upon the tour, the young Empress that was in Jamaica. Forget her name too. But yes, ma'am, you know, a lot, you know, Mad Professor, legend again. You know what I mean? Patrick Augustus, who the baby father and the pioneer for things that's going on in the Gambia. You know, yes, my virgin.
And all right. Last year sometime you came in the studio and you said to yourself, you're gonna. I thought you said you're gonna do a tribute, you know. And from there, you know me already. The ideas and run on, and we decide that we're gonna do. We're gonna turn it into a regular program where we're gonna do a regular tribute. Can you name? First of all, why did we decide that we're gonna start paying tribute?
That was our crucial, because what we was observing that was that too much people were acknowledging people when they pass on and when they die and when they're dead, for want of a better word, when they pass on to the ancestral realms. Yes, and a lot of it will come very hypocritical. You see me I say? And we find out in these times, we there at SFDC, and people don't even want to unite with us. So you realize a lot of people were hypocrites, you know what I mean? I think they did, nobody don't want to unite, but yet when you're dead, don't one of them want to come at your funeral. And some people were like vultures who just yamp on dead flesh. So we had to say, well, boy, man, we have to set a different example. You see me I say? We need to start, even if we don't get down with somebody or we have a different view, you know what I mean? And a different opinion, or if somebody have a different business from yours, from, you know what I mean? We're recognition due. We choose to be impartial and objective, because other communities were different in themselves. So we did choose to say, well, the proper thing naturally was to acknowledge people while they were still alive. Acknowledge elders and legends them while they were still alive. People were being acknowledged when they were dead. You see me I say, and passed on. That was no good. You see me I say, we were saying, boy, sir, I don't want nobody come and bring no flowers for my graveyard. If you want some flowers for me, give me them the flowers, and no, while I'm still alive. You see me I say? So it's about, like I said, turning around a whole scheme of things, Virgin, because in these times, the most simplest of people cannot unite and will not unite. And yet, if them dead tomorrow, them dead each other funeral. I'm gonna tell me, oh yeah, did you go to that funeral? That was a great funeral. I met so and so there, I met so and so, and then I met so and so there. We did want to move away from all them kind of foolishness and hypocrisy.
And you know, one of the things, Kush, when we first started working together here on SFDC radio, I mean, I've done SFDC radio years before, and it was off the net for about 2 years. And you know, when you started on here, has there ever been a moment when you feel like, say, boy, is this gonna go anywhere?
Yeah, man, you get them feelings of king because you know, so right now, with what SFDC radio are going with, we are going with all odds against we. You see what I say? And it's amazing because sometimes people have no fear about, you know what I mean? But when see, time is the master. And when we show the liberty and the endurance and the stamina, you see what I say? And we execute and we show the people, say, oh yeah, respect you. Of course, respect you. Because we've had to earn the respect. Any respect SFDC get, they have to earn that respect. Work hard. When I hear to myself, I do 9-hour programs, 10-hour programs, 13-hour programs, 17-hour program with SFDC to try prove a point to the authorities them. You see what I say? And bring everything up to scratch, up to date. You see what I say? You know, it's against all odds. And we are trying to show the people saying, I mean, if the people support the vibration and make we have a fair crack at the playing ground, there's enough so that everybody can eat and the world can be a more better place.
What we're going to do, we're going to carry it on to 12 and you finish off from there with your musical tribute, you know. But one of the things I want to say is, you know, is a pleasure, trust me, working with Sir Kush Genesis. And yes, we know, say, Sir probably not as a Rastaman. Some people may say, why Sir? But you see, in a today world, most people recognize the word Sir. And to me, you know, me see it as a fitting tribute at the time to honor you by calling you Sir. You know, and as I said, many people have asked me, have you been knighted?
Yeah, man, my people, them at night, man. So when I go to school, them, all the workshop I do, the children, them call me Sir Kush. That's what the children, them call me. Recently, I did 3 workshops, or a big workshop in, I think it's the truly all-girls school. Like I say, and, you know, organized 3 workshops, and I administered one myself, which is the drumming workshop. 25 girls and 25 Asian girls. Yeah? And give them, you know, 25 Asian girls and 25 drums. Because they all had a desire to learn a rhythm. And by the time I educate them and show them a rhythm and produce results. And from the beginning to the end, the honorable, the way of acknowledgement was Sir Kush and Sir Kush. And before they leave the class, none of them youth there would leave the class until they got an autograph from Sir Kush. Or when they were late and other teachers said, come on, children, you got to go in there. How don't miss? I got to get an autograph from Sir Kush. Sir Kush, can I have a please autograph? Can you give us some words of inspiration? Because throughout that workshop, they were getting words of inspiration. You see, so even the children, they when we go to school out of respect, and we know, you know what I mean? So we're not feeling no way. We understand the spirit behind the intention and the good spirit behind the intention every time.
Okay, just before we finish off, we're coming close to 11 p.m. and we don't know you're going to take over with your musical tribute because your program on a Wednesday is a 4-hour program. And I remember when we started, you were doing this 5 days a week in a circus. Yeah, man.
Yes, King, when they don't know, so like I said, we have to get everything up the strap. We have to exhibit stamina. You see, I say sportsmanship, dignity, integrity. There's a lot of values and concepts that we had to exhibit and get it up to scratch immediately with what our intention was. You see, I say, we couldn't no lay, no rare, and colder than ass fat. Because we don't know, say, action speaks louder than words. So no matter how beyond you did there talk, use a man, your work, 24/7, you're up in the attic with one sleeping bag. Your wife must wonder where you're there. When you see how facts work, I have to do a film tribute, so tune too, because I tell you folks, 7 days a week, you know, sometimes when you see the man there, in one attic with one sleeping bag to make things run. You see me I say, people wouldn't believe what I go on. His wife would have all if you hear the story from her angle, a different story. You see me I say, for sure the diligence and the kind of principles and concepts that you have to exhibit. You see me I say, because in any business, and in anything that you want to be successful in life, and you try to show that example to the youths them, you have to demonstrate discipline, hard work, so I say, sportsmanship, integrity, consciousness. And you see me I say, eating the right food, there's a whole lot of things that you balance. For me, because you see me I say, what you sow is what you reap, because the very good you do is the very thing that's going to follow you. If you not do no good, then what you can expect to follow you. Yeah, man.
All right. We're going to close by now asking you, we got some interviews coming up, some very, very important interviews. Could you say what those interviews are, and a brief reasoning as to why we're going to be doing these interviews?
Again, we have we want the folks to stay locked on to www.sfdcradio.com, especially the Wednesday forum. We have a tribute also to a young legend. Yes, many may not be realizing, but you have to go lucky if you find out, well, do I know of this person? Have I really heard of this person? DJ Jones. Yes, so this is Wednesday, the 18th of February. We want them to lock in because, again, another legend, young legend, which is like an institution in itself. And again, when we say young legend, because, like I said, every person that's born, when you check it out spirituality, they're a great soul. Everybody's a great soul. And it's all about acknowledging contribution and achievements. And, for want of a better word, some people are like beyond their time. You see me I say? And are going with wonders and great things that needs to be acknowledged now. You see, so even the young legends, them, we want to acknowledge. So if you've got young legends and elders, them, who you know that needs to be, remember, so get in contact with www.sfdcradio.com every time, yes? So watch out for that. Put that one on the 18th. It's a Wednesday. It's a February. DJ Jones, yes? He's a young legend. You've also got a tribute going out to DJ Flavor. We say pick it up Flavor, because people don't know it's a Flavor in the Luton Town area, much less Jamaica, and about the place or about the world, yes? Special tribute there to DJ Flavor for his outstanding work. It's all about the achievements and accomplishments, and a whole lot of things in grow, especially the year 2014. Maximum on top of the president. Must set a president in the year the 2014 with the amount of work you do in Flavor. Yeah, man, we want to catch up with Flavor and find out what's going on, because no matter where you twist and turn, Flavor did it. I go on and provide and I give some always back to the community. Yes, another one of Jamaica's finest Prince them. Yes, special tribute to the DJ Flavor. Yes, outstanding work, especially from the 2014. Want to catch up on that history and want you to tell the history in a year. It's about your achievements and all your accomplishments, and the country. What is your mission? What do you want the accomplishment? You see me I say, and we have to give respect and respect. We give unto Caesar that which is due unto Caesar, and you give the respect unto Flavor that which is due unto Flavor. We say what tell Flavor every time. You don't know, so that one there, the 25th of February, also a Wednesday, Living Legends, Living Elders, yes, tribute to DJ Flavor, 25th February. Lock that one in your diary, www.sfdcradio.com, and that's how we do it. Acknowledge people while they're still here, while they're still alive. Don't wait for them to go to the ancestral way before you talk about you bring flowers and that person was a good old chap, and you talk about I met that person at this funeral and I met that person. Forget about them something there. You see what I'm saying? Make we turn around the tables. Make it, even if the direction and the destiny look that way there, take control of your destiny and take shape. And and move things, Like we start organizing some weddings. Where's the next wedding going on about the place? Or some naming ceremonies. Yeah. Anyway, talking about upon the Wednesday forums and Living Legend. Do remember the 22nd of February, yes, which is the week before the 25th naturally. You got the Living Elder, Sir Lyde Coxon. Yeah, man. Yes, we got the Living Elder, yes. They're about coming to Luton Town, Bedfordshire, United Kingdom, ready to beam out to the world before him fly out and before him embark upon the next mission in his life. The original Living Legend, Living Elder, Sir Lyde, another Sir again, Sir Lyde Coxon. You see me I say, 22nd of February, lock that one in your library, juke it in, spread the word, make the people know, wake the town and tell the people, big things going on, www.sfdcradio.com, so we do that, so we stay original. Remember, run up on those cyber world 24/7s, big things going on, SFDC Radio, have a big family, LPOJ, roll up on the item, so we say, when I leave out the item, LPOJ and everybody, and more part of the plate, they don't know it go. What you say to me, folks?
Yes, I just go and talk to the people while I get yourself ready for go back in your
man,
for go back into your musical tribute. And I want to say Big up and enough respect to each and everyone who got it locked. P. Stevenson, yes, communicating with me from Facebook. Big up to all the listeners from the SFDCradio.com WhatsApp group, from the Talent from the Motherland group. Big up DJ Powers. Yeah, man. Big up Flawless Sniper, Kofi Marvelous, Jedi Tafari, Rasma Kwakwa, Mr. C. Yes, you said the power cut rhythm ready. Yeah, man. So, and you know, it's an honor and pleasure for know, say, we came a long way against the odds, and now we have people locked in all over the world. So, you know, we're very, very grateful for that still. Yeah, and right now, Sir Kush is just preparing to do, finish off, give you an hour of musical tribute. Bless up, enough respect.
Maximum respect. We give thanks, fantastic silver fact. You don't know, say, folks, more on top of the plenty every time to the history and to the liberty. Like we said, we don't even touch on Gambia. I'm an honorary citizen of the Gambia. 53 of we received honorary citizenship in the Gambia. We are doing a fundraising event in the Gambia, which I want the item who can support and lucky upon that. We're going to get the posters them going out upon that soon also. Inspirational Enterprise in junction with the Cushmore Arts and Media Services Foundation. They present Stand Up and Be Counted Part 4. It's a fundraising dance for the Gambia School Project and the Health Clinic Project in the Gambia. The event is happening on Sunday, April the 5th, 2015 at Annalee Town Hall. That's Annalee Town Hall. That's Annalee Road, London, SE20 8BD. SE20 8BD. It's a family event, variety show. Those open from 5 p.m. till 11 p.m. There's a poetry platform, live in concert. You got youngsters on the platform doing poetry, Ramel, Josh Jordan, you know, and many other poets and young people during the early part of the hour. Later on, we got a live band, which is the Elements Band, featuring Cutty Williams from Elements Band. Yes, so we want to say big it up every time, Cutty Williams, you know, and tickets are £20 in advance. More on the door. Further information 0743 4948 142. 0743 4948 142. Yes, it's all about the project. Do support it. Yes, inspiration. It's all about the school project that we're doing in the Gambia. Do make a phone call, make some inquiries, and do support the vibration. Put that one in your diary. 5th of April 2015. Yes, remember also, amongst other things, folks, you know that SFDC Radio has got their togetherness dance happening. You see me say, so have that one in your diary also. It's all about the 20th of March, the Friday. Yes, SFDC Radio Togetherness Dance, Friday the 20th of March. You may say X amount of the presenters them on the day. Ticket £7, £10 on entry, food on sale, participation from Sniper Song from Jamaica, DJ Paul from Jamaica, DJ Boom from Canada, DJ Wizzy from Antigua. You see me I say Wolfer guest artist from Goldfinger to Baba El Numero. You see me I say myself going on there, so Killer Rich going on there, so DJ Fred go on there, so LPO DJ go on there, so White Magic Sound go on there, so the honorable Manding go on there, so you see me I say Brother Tony go on there, so the fantastic Silver Fox go on there, so more on top of the plenty. Joke it in your diary. The 20th of March. Remember, say it is a Friday. Yes, check it out every time. Right now, remember, say folks, watch out. Once a special greetings also going out to Reggae Bunny. Watch out for the project that's also coming to Luton. Jamaican Music, Food Culture Appreciation Society. Yes, and with some big time international connections. It's all about bigging up Jamaica. You see, my sister man, I have an intention to say, well, boom, big up Jamaica and counteract all of the negative stereotype images about Jamaica and deal with the food, the music, the culture, and the people in a positive order. Yes, you know, so watch out for that the project is because it seems like, you know what I mean, the international it's like the man have a thing with them going. It's all about appreciating the culture of Jamaica, and people all over the world, we don't know, say appreciate love Jamaican culture, Jamaican music, Jamaican food. You see what I say? So I want to catch up with Reggae Bunny in the near future. So go on Reggae Bunny because I know you're lacking and the whole the mass of them lacking. So we say big up going out to Brother T and the whole of the family every time. You know what I mean? Because we need all them kind of good vibes. So anything that counteract and you know like we say that big up Jamaica and big up Africa. But in this case you big up Jamaica because all of the stereotype images people think them can go to Jamaica and it's all about Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's how it go. Jamaica have some morality and some foundation about it, even though you can go find them the resorts there and them places there where you can go. Some people going to go rent a dread, you know what I mean, on the beach or go rent that. You see what I say? But same time, we know that some people out there concerned about representing the dignity and the integrity and the moral faculty about Jamaica and its people, its music, its food, its industry, and the whole of the culture. So we say go and big it up, but they don't know, so we endorse that and we respect that every time. Bless.
Yes, Sir Kush, before you fully take over, I just want to big up someone very, very special.
Yes,
I want to big up Sexy Sam, Ever Bless. And you see this Empress here, a long time she helped me on Facebook promoting my events and promoting the radio. And now she's officially part of the SFDCradio.com WhatsApp group. And I may tell you, she don't stop push out this little interview here, which is why so many people are locked on all over the world. So, big up yourself, Sexy Sam, Ever Blessed, and just keep up the good work. Just stick to SFDCradio.com and you know a lot better things to happen. Keep spread the good news, as they would say, the gospel. Big up.
Give thanks and praise every time to our sisters and to all those who lock in here on station www.sfdcradio.com. We give thanks and praise for your support and for your strength every time. Right now we're going to touch off with some selection. I'm going to touch on some of the music that I've been going through the years. I've been trying to dig up some old things that I've been doing because throughout the time, sometimes you try and document music, if it's especially when you got concerns. One of the concerns I had is when I came out and all the racism in the world, and when I was experiencing so much racism, I did my own tune called New World Order. This was sometime like in the late 90s, so I suppose we're looking at nearly 20 years ago. It was a track titled New World Order where I asked Prince Malachi to produce a track for me. It was Cotty Williams and Sister Joseph, and I think it was Patrick and some of my brethren them to come do some harmonizing. So this particular track we titled New World Order African Style. You see me I say, and something we think about 20, never fully released. You see me I say, it's a rough mix. I had to dig into the archive to show you that throughout time we're still trying to document with concerns. Listen to this track and, have your own view.
New
years ago also, production. Never released. Guildford Street Recording Studio. Produced by Prince Malachi and myself. I tell you, big things going on them times because I received a lottery form. I received a grand. I received £1,000 because I made it to the lottery. I have a drumming group here that because at the time when I start traveling, I formed the Luton African Drummers and the Kushite Drummers. And I say, boom, you know what I mean? You know, nobody now embrace, no organization, no one work with me. We could try and form a one little cooperative and do a one thing. You see me say, so we form a one little cooperative. You see me say, get a grant from the lottery and go to the recording studio. And, you know, and some of the drummers them from those times, like I said, produced by Prince Malachi, Cutty, and some of my brothers them from vocals. You know, after using some of the grant, we used some of the grants to produce various tracks and to bring some of the artists them in the studio. Another track that I did in the studio using that funding money was a track titled Last Days, also produced by Prince Malachi and Sister Joseph. This is the track we titled Last Days, 17 years ago. Featuring Sister Joseph, produced by Prince Malachi and myself. This is the Guildford Street, 33 Guildford Street. Tracks written by myself, all the lyrics written by myself. Tracks built by Prince Malachi. This track is titled The Last Days, featuring Sister Joseph on the vocals. Listen.
These are the last days, and it's really no time. See the elements of Sodom and Gomorrah, I know it is a sign. These are the last days, and it's really no time. See the elements of Sodom and Gomorrah, I know it is a sign.
Some of them, especially from long time, want to say special greetings. Maximum respect. We say big up going out to each and everybody locked into the A1 station. Maximum respect going out to St. Kids. Oh, we could have left out St. Kids, yes. We do apologize, you don't know, so we always big up everybody over the world. Excitement to go on about the place for the last 2 hours. We just talk, you know, but we say big up going out nationally to all of the people, them and to my Empress personally, that St. Kids same time right now. There's something else say, we say big up to Smiley West Coast, Mama Africa, yes, and everybody about the place same way. Yeah. So right now, we just going to run off with some of the music them which I've been doing throughout the whole of the years. Some of them were documented, yes, as a part of the experience. This is a track titled Revelation. For those who used to live in a Luton and still live in a Luton, there is a brethren living in a Luton called Reuben. Colin Reuben or Colin Bonner, as somebody named have a company now called Bonner Tech. Yes, because anything to do with computers and electronics, that is film area of mass of expertise. Now, 18 years ago or so, Colin Bonner Reuben was a part of this project with us also. Yeah, and Prince Malachi produced a track for Reuben that he wrote the lyrics, a track called Revelation, and the part of the whole objective of the project was to produce, you know, like I said, some of the local artists them in the Luton area. I'm going to play a Reuben track quite shortly, but before I come to Reuben track, part of the drumming experience is where there was a horn section that I was a part of, and my daughter, my beloved daughter at the time, we were together, like I said, and she encouraged me to get an alto sax, because I could play by feel. I was always a bit nervous about actually doing rudiments in the theory of music, so my daughter encouraged me to buy an alto sax, which encouraged me to understand a bit more about the rudiments and the theory of reading dots. Within that encouragement, the drum and doing the drumming, we decided to incorporate the drums and the saxophone together. It became an inspiration, even while I was in the recording studio. And I didn't know much about saxophone and time, apart from just to pick it up and blow it according to what I feel. So I contacted our brethren, a very close brethren called Andrew Charlie. Andrew Charlie had a tenor sax. He was a tutor, professional saxophonist. And another one of the drummers at the time was Jerry Jackson. Jerry Jackson was a drummer, and he was inspired to buy himself a soprano sax. So Andrew Charlie had a tenor, Jerry had a soprano, and I had the alto sax. You know, and you know, we still had the drumming, and it was amazing because we even got a few gigs just for the horns itself. We used to practice some of the cover tracks of Naya Bingi songs, and I remember the Women's Institution booking us for at least for 2 consecutive years, just doing performances as the African horns, you know. And one of the many tracks and we did was an instrumental track, naturally, as the African horns, myself, Andrew Charlie, and Jerry Jackson. And this track was titled, it was a rendition, and it was titled The Conquering Lion, featuring myself on alto sax, Andrew Charlie on tenor sax, and Jerry Jackson on soprano sax. That's Andrew Charlie now on tenor sax. Alto sax and soprano. The main melody of the song will be played by myself, alto sax. Track titled The Conquering Lion. was Andrew Charlie, fabulous Andrew Charlie. Living Legends, Living Elders tribute. Some of the production we've been doing 19 years ago or so. Conquering Lion. Produced by myself alongside Prince Malachi and memorable moments. Brethren in Luton by the name of Colin Bonner. Yes, and believe it, I was talking to him today. I said, Bridget, them time that you should do an album. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, Colin Bonner was also a part of the project, yes, which we were doing in the late 1999 also, you know what I mean? And like I said again, Prince Malachi produced a rhythm track. Colin Bonner wrote some lyrics, and this is what became of that. Track title Revelation. www.sfdcradio.com. Sir Kush Genesis, welcome to the show.
I don't know why my brothers always ridicule I. And I don't know why my sisters always wanna criticize, oh yeah. They're being so ignorant, playing fool to get wise. Filled with such arrogance, wishing for my demise. It's time we stop the fun. Loving is a must. Times will get serious when there's no one you can trust. If it's Satan you're gonna choose, you know you will lose.
Ruben,
temptations and
Colin Bonner, yeah man.
Learn to refuse. Oh children of Jah, take heed of these words that I say. Playing the fool will only prolong our stay. Circumstance getting rough, and it's worse every day. Don't expect the wicked to show us the way. Redemption is at hand, yeah, to those who can demand.
I tell you, Colin Bonner, big things going on them time. And when I'm here to them, I say, yeah man, them tune is still rough, Colin. Trust me, being a better room because it's honorable every time. And it was just showing them time how big things were going on every time. You see me, I say, because, you know, even when we think, say, greater things was to come. Some of we assume, say, boys, that's cool, that's no big thing. Better things are to come. Sometimes we realize that was it. Amongst those times, there was also some couple drummers who at the time were going up with a couple of white sisters. You see me, I say, Caucasian daughters, for want of a better word, because at the time they were going through a situation, but simply because they were dealing with Caucasian daughters, they were being looked upon and going through some different experiences. As the Kushite Drummers, I, through the power of Rastafari, embraced them as drummers, and we embraced their partners too. Whenever, you know what I mean, they did acknowledge Rastafari, and we're giving thanks and praise to the energy them have them kings. So, we said to the bridge them and to the drummers, and they could still come and learn drumming amongst I and even bring their partners to drumming. They learned drumming, and I involved them in the production also. Two of the Caucasian sisters them at the time was a sister called Lucy and a sister called Caroline. Two what we call white sisters but Caucasian daughters. They did a track, you know what I mean, where we asked Prince Malachi to produce a rhythm track. I asked them to write a song. They wrote a song between them. They titled it Children. I asked Prince Malachi to produce a rhythm track, and this was the result of that.
Children must learn of their culture today to turn their face away from evil. Oh, the children, they must learn their culture to turn You must look within the eyes to see how it
This was the result of a project.
is. I
We
say,
get £1,000 from the National Lottery. I take 15 people in the studio, half male, half female.
but
Some of the examples, some of the results we produced from the £1,000 we get from National Lottery. When we send the receipts, they send me an application form for anything up to £100,000 to complete the whole project. What I think?
but by the fruits thereof, let the
That
children
was another story why that didn't happen.
learn their culture.
Anyway, Caroline and Lucy,
Children,
2 Caucasian daughters,
their culture.
track title Children.
In this time of war,
Produced by myself alongside Prince Malachi.
this time of war and crime. Children must learn of their culture today to turn their face away from evil. All the children must learn their culture to turn their face away. The children learn their culture.
Our special tribute forum.
Children.
Give thanks, Mr. Lawrence Palmer.
Culture.
I tell you, tell man, long time you're supposed to have a show for yourself, man. Or you can have an elder like that tucked away in the corner. What's the matter with you know?
In this time,
Give thanks, fantastic Silver Fox.
children
Watch out for them further date there.
learn their culture today.
This, like I said, those are projects. Some of the tracks in the project we did, like I said, 20 years ago. You see me, I say, for different reasons, I just put it in the executive case and just seal it up. You see me, I say, and then, amongst doing other things, sometimes we still jumped in the recording studio to do other things. You see what I'm saying? And one of the tracks that I done from a longer time ago, again, which is also going back into a year, because I decided, well, let me just put some tracks on, especially with my drumming, because I did a lot of drumming. I wanted to put a track dedicated to the ancestors on track. I go, so let me just put on a track, an instrumental track, just for the ancestors. This is something I did about, 2005, where we did, 2015, so I suppose, 10 years ago. Yes, tribute to the ancestors. I'm doing all the drumming on this one. the kind of drumming we used to do when we did, as the drummers, we were invited to do many drum calls. Reverend Aishaka Musho Barashango, Honorable Khalid Mohammed, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, Dr. John Andrew Clark, Al-Kebilan Revivalist Movement, Pan-African Congress Movement, African Our Revolutionary Parliament Movement, African Liberation Days, Kushite Drummers. We participated in the drum call. This is how the drum call went. Inviting everyone. Yes, it's all about the living element myself, you know, it's about knowing what's going on at the Gideon style. We say give thanks, and among other things, that production was also helped produce through Roland Lamance. Yes, at the IC Studio World Tide Garoff, track title Ancestral, that's 2005. You see me I say production. You see me I say, and again, with knowing myself, one thing about me as a youth, you know, especially born in the diaspora, I always want to know what it was to be a man. You know, and sometimes when you grow up as a man in life, the question does ask, what is it to be a man? Because sometimes you may see your father, you know, growing a certain, because your first role model is your father. But instinctively, sometimes you may see your father going on a way which you know, say, boy, so that is not the right way. You see me, I say, and for me personally, to get the word of studying, to get to appreciate love and appreciate manhood and kinghood, you know, I had to look to Garvey, and ultimately its imperial majesty. For a lot of the ways today, what's influenced my behavior, my standard, is looking to my king, the African king of all kings. Yes, His Imperial Majesty, Earth's rightful ruler, Haile Selassie I the First. It's Mr. Marcus Messiah Garvey, one of our heroes, the forerunner of African liberation. For me, born in the diaspora, at a time when Africa was under colonialism and black people were told, we ain't got no culture, you ain't got no language, you ain't got no name, you're a nobody. It's Marcus Garvey who remind me and said, no go so. Look to Africa, for you see a king will be crowned. With that will confirm the history. And when we look to Africa, we see antiquity, we see royalty, we see identity, we find language, we find culture, we find spirituality, we find with self. You see what I say? So, for me as a man, you know, everything I was looking for to be a man, I had to look to my king of kings, lords of lords, conquering lion, the tribe of Judah, the African king, and find myself and know how is it I should behave as a man and what is my duty in life. You see me I say, because life comes with a responsibility and a duty. You see me I say, and you know, talking about responsibility and a duty, I do want to take a brief speech from the king on the subject of responsibility. And the king, His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I, quotes and says, man desires many things, but it is the individual's duty and responsibility to desire the proper things. A noble failure may be of more value than a petty success. Anyone who makes the wrong choices will be a burden, not only to himself, but to the future generations. Though life is short, one should live and act in such a way that their achievements will bring their country a good name forever. If they do not use their training for worthy ends, they will be an enemy not only to themselves, but an obstacle also to others. They will indeed be sick while supposedly healthy, and dead while still alive. The obligation to improve oneself does not cease simply because one has a regular job. Simply watching other people's achievement is the characteristics of a lazy person. There is no person in the world who is free from life's responsibility. One who does not contribute to his community and the coming generation remains to be a burden to the society and an object of ridicule to outside observers. It is not enough for the children of Ethiopia to be recipients of education. They should never forget that the responsibility for passing on their knowledge to others and of handing it over to the next generation rests on them. If the wealth of a person cannot be for the general welfare, what would be gained for himself and his offsprings but grudge and hatred? To place our responsibilities on the shoulders of one individual while all others just sit by idly and seek only to criticize and find fault is to act contrary to the movement of progression and development. A qualified man with vision, unmoved by daily selfish interests, will be led to right decisions by his conscience. A man who knows from whence he comes and from whence he is going will cooperate even with his fellow human beings. He will not be satisfied with merely doing his own ordinary duties, but he will also inspire others by his good example. Records of the past reveal the great achievements of our forefathers, and it is up to us to try to emulate them, for they will be standing in judgment of us all. End of quote. Words of the King, His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor Haile Selassie I. Again, this is why we say it's very important that we know which knowledge to lock into, relevant knowledge, relevant education. I want to lock up with somebody who's on the line. Like I said, that was a quotation from the King of Kings on the responsibility. I've Brother T, Brother Tyrone. I want to say special greetings. Welcome to the show. Brother T, Brother Tyrone, do you have on the line?
Definitely, man. Definitely. Welcome and greetings.
Thank you, my brethren, for locking in, for coming on the show, because I know you are one busy man about the place, so I don't know if you've been listening to the show why you feel tempted for coming, but yeah, we give thanks for your support and give thanks for locking in and for
wonderful show. Great wisdom I hear you expelling there. Great wisdom.
Give thanks, Brother T. What?
Definitely.
You know, the man, it's like as if, there was a thing where the whole spotlight was on myself this evening to do an acknowledgement of myself as a tribute.
Well overdue.
Give thanks for that, I don't know, is there any particular question you want to ask me, or is there,
Yes.
Feel free,
brother.
Brother T, when the statements are questions, because we have about 15-20 minutes to go, so give thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Well, firstly, I've known you over 25 years at least, but how long have you been working for the BBC?
Well, I was there with Ezeke for 8 years.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And then in my own right, as a contracted journalist and as a contracted broadcaster, I did 7 years.
Wonderful. You're well trained.
Give thanks.
Well, wonderful. Yeah. What made you turn to be a DJ or a journalist in that? What was the inspiration?
I think the inspirational thing was realizing that there's a holistic approach to life and the meaning of life, and I realized that music was a means. Working with Ezeke was an inspiration because I was a broadcaster helping Ezeke and seeing what Zeke was doing, and Zeke was reaching a certain audience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at that time I realized there was another section of the audience that he wasn't reaching, the Rastafari community, and people at the time knew me as a person to always be reasoning upon culture and history. And Zeke gave me an opportunity to play some music. I was on Zeke's show when he was there. I did half an hour of roots and culture, where I just played roots and culture music, and it was a bit nerve-wracking at the time because I wasn't too sure, how to fumble. But then I learned about being able to prepare yourself and how to do a script before and I realized I love conversing, I love talking with people. So with a couple of experiences with Zeke and doing Zeke's program on BBC Three Kennedy Radio, his time, just doing the little half an hour spots, was the great inspiration to say, well, hey, you know what I mean? I can talk to people, I can converse and I can deliver like a presentation, because at the time I was understanding, I was going to college, I was getting ready for college and understanding how you can choose a subject and do a presentation. So the DJ with the music became, because I didn't want to take the music on a jokey level. I felt that the music was a vehicle for delivering some kind of a message. So whatever I did with the music, so the music was just a means for me to deliver the message and become a DJ. They say, well, this is why I don't go into competitions and I suppose sometimes why it's hard to get booked for being a dancer, because I'm more about music being a mission more than a competition, and being used to edify, educate, inspire, inform, and to stimulate people, because I believe that for me. So, yeah, go ahead, because I could go and ribbit it down, but go ahead,
Yes, because the question I wanted for you, basically, he was saying about inspiration, saying, what made you choose this inspirational part as a humble roots and cultural messenger? Obviously, in my observation over the years, you've always done your sort of broadcasting, or your DJing, or your sort of presentation much different from most other DJ, which is always a very good inspirational message in it. I mean, if one didn't know culture, I don't know culture, listen to your broadcasts or show or events, and normally one can be well educated and sort of get the opportunity to realize their roots and culture, which is so important in this time for our people. And I just, what was the great influence why you chose the part and playing, rather a laid-back, very roots and cultural messenger, and you've always got something, a message in all your that you script on the radio, which is brilliant. It really is in this time. It's always, you could take your 2-year-old or your 10-year-old or whatever year-old girl or boy and still listen to your show, and they can be educated or re-educated, and that's what I really appreciate about your thing. So, what was the inspiration and your inspiration to do this, the way you do it?
I think fundamentally, I love that question too, because even when I reflect on it, I think amongst many things, one of the fundamental elements about it was about counteracting all the negative stereotype images of Rasta, reggae music, Jamaica, and the whole culture.
That's it, yeah.
And this is why in everything I do, the whole concept is about counteract. It's not about disrespecting anybody. It's making people understand how it is, because I've traveled the world and not opened my mouth in differences. So people need to understand who I and I is, not based upon their stereotype image or their preconceived ideas. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems as if when it comes to talking about Jamaicans and Africans, of which I am linked to, I grew up with many negative, even when I started BBC, there was so much negative stereotype images and concepts that I had to break. I had to break those myths, from turning up on time, from being punctual. All my shows I didn't fall into, to my people, and my mission and my purpose remained the same. And even when people accuse the boys saying Ghana BBC, that means if you're Ghana BBC, that means you're selling. We had all that to contend with also what we were doing, because BBC, we were all over the, and setting precedents, and history shows, the platform was there. All my shows I did until I did my show, and then 2 days later, So my time at BB was memorable moments, and I give thanks for those times.
Yes, wonderful. Because I used to listen to your show on Sundays. In the short time you had, you always try to give a snip of everything, a bit of culture, a bit of reggae generally, a bit of gospel, religious music in the short period of time to make space for given to black music. So yes, I thought it was very good. I mean, and you've traveled the world. You've met some very powerful people, even Queen of Monaco and
of
things
Monaco,
like that.
Monte Carlo, yes.
How many countries have you traveled?
I haven't traveled the whole world. There's 2 places I would love to.
You've been to Africa a lot.
Yeah, but I've been to Africa, yes, because the first part of Africa was Marrakesh, North Africa. We did 6 weeks in Africa, playing music in Africa. But I've also, like I said, been to Ghana, been to Gambia for the last 10 years, to and from Gambia. And but generally the music took me also, like I said, 6 weeks in Israel, spending time, because Monte Carlo was 3 consecutive summer seasons. So Princess Grace invited us back for 3 consecutive summer seasons, plus 2 New Year's Eve. So we did. I was a part of doing star opening shows for Frank Sinatra, Tina Turner, Shirley Bassey, Bjorn Borg. People, within those years, with the band I was within, but like I said, sometimes we just keep it cool unless we have a purpose and a reason to mention it. Certain things we don't even mention, because those experiences make you humble. You see what I'm saying? And it makes you appreciate life, and that's why when I come back, that's why I just I'm the person I am, and it's just about, knowing that, the ultimate realization of life, is about everything is designed for harmony and balance. You know what I mean? And I've had to live in France, Germany, Holland, Belgium, Sweden, India, Israel, Marrakesh, amongst all different people, and find that common link that allows everybody to live and get on as one. It was an amazing experience.
Wonderful. Yes. I presume. What was your experience like in Israel, from a religious point of view?
In that time was a crucial time, because that time was also the same, just as much tension. I was in Israel, but same time I wanted the aspiration to go to this Wailing Wall, so they did take us to the Wailing Wall, which was they have as the last part of Solomon Temple, and again, to touch the Wailing Wall. You see, again, so because we don't know the history. And again, so obviously there's a lot of, but that experience was a crucial, because we were 6 weeks in Israel, and amongst all the and we managed still to perform without getting involved, in
politics,
in the politics that was going over there. We just use reggae music to spread love. You see what I'm saying? Because reggae music, that it do, spread love to the four colors at the earth,
That is what it is, yes. Fantastic. What? Also, you're a drummer, aren't you? You're a very good cultural drummer.
Yes, it's one of the first things we embrace through the love of Mama Africa and the foundation. I know that it's the first instrument. The drums connects us to our ancestors, our history. That
I know, yeah.
And I've learned. It took me a long time, because playing Naya Bingi in the church vibe was one thing, but when you're traveling, you have to play Latin and rumba and bossa nova and merengue and all these other. It takes a lot of rehearsing, a lot of sore fingertips, and sometimes a lot of bloodshed. You know what I mean? So it comes with a lot of hard work and a lot of rehearsal, because when Ezeke rehearse, sometimes it's on a 12-hour rehearsal, and nobody can go home and there's no stopping. You have to rehearse till you get it right. You know what I mean? Jim said Zeke used to remind us he come from the Jane Brown school. You know what I mean? If it's too hot in the kitchen, you have to come out. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
definitely. I took people from James Brown when I was bringing my band with people being late. I used to find them, because that's what I heard James Brown did.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we got some discipline, because no matter who I'm paying our time after Saturday night or Sunday, they were docked.
Yeah, man. If you don't get docked, you get banned on the spot, sacked on the spot.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
People who didn't rehearse properly, playing with guitar, we say after tonight, nobody come back. Yeah. So have you made any records featuring yourself?
A couple of records featuring myself which haven't been released yet. Some of them I'm touching on, even we're talking, I was touching years. Some of them it goes back 15 years. I got a lot recorded that you will hear in time to come. Things that I've put down, got on the masters, because it's been another way of documenting history throughout the time and documenting my journey. So the recording has played a vital part in the way I've documented my history and my journey. So yes, there's quite a few. I'm in the process of actually finishing off an album, a 15-track album, which I've been compiling together. To tell the truth, along with my book, my biography of my book, The Story of My Life. So there's a book, set to get in motion, as well as an album. In motion also, Brother T, yes.
Well, definitely. Well, certainly it would be a road I'd like to take up with you for your other abilities. I certainly would be looking forward to doing some production with you in due course, in the near future, because I think I like the spiritual vibe you have is fantastic. So, that is something I know,
but Brother T, guys, for those folks, Brother Tyrone came on the show. He's a living legend. Remember, UK top producer, lovers rap producer. He's a entrepreneur. He's a more on top of plenty to this area. So we do give thanks and praise that he can spend time, because he have a busy schedule and he come on time to come express the sentiments, and I always appreciate it where people can do that. So I blessed Brother Tyrone.
Yeah, well, I don't you're running out of time now, but next time we'll get a chance, obviously, to do more. We've got yet unfinished business, so we can always catch up.
God
but
bless
it's been
you.
a pleasure talking, because I know you had limited time now. It is wonderful, and what a lovely show.
Give
You know,
thanks,
it's
Brother
great.
T.
And
Love you.
giving thanks to your lovely audience throughout the world.
Bless you.
Give
brother.
thanks for, this wonderful station.
Yes.
SFDC
Radio,
radio.com.
Ike's.
Wonderful.
Go on, Brother T. Bless you, my brethren. One love. That was Brother T, folks. Yes, on the line. Yes, me I say, and we say big things going on every time. We'll give thanks for those sentiment. Look on the time, man. Yeah, I want to remember, say, also, amongst other things, spill requests going out also to Reggae Bunny. We say, Walt type Reggae Bunny, because we don't say you're lucky in the same time. And enough requests, big up to the Item and the family. And we say for the people to watch it for the Jamaican music, food, culture, appreciation society, because it's a big project. I go out with some big things about the place, all kind of international connections, world support, big businesses are involved in doing anything they can to also big up Jamaica. So we love that, because we there as SFDC Radio, I big up Jamaica, and I big up Jamaica with integrity, dignity, moral faculty in play, because again, we're there and somewhere where we come through that time we have to counteract the negative stereotypes of Jamaicans, because I got to myself in many experiences, because I'm a Jamaican, so I'm like, okay, well that means you're going to be late, you know what I mean? So I say, hey, disrespect, so yeah, go and big up the things, you know, and everybody around the world, Africa and all various Caribbean islands, them counteracting the negative energy, the negative stereotypes of ionizer people in whatever farm, go and go big it up, yeah. So it's a Reggae Bunny, hold tight, yes, MD, yes, because you don't necessarily look out for your project. Special requests going out to all of your family, yes, and special requests will go out to all those who are going to support that. Remember, say, folks, you got the SFDC Radio Togetherness Dance, Friday the 20th of March, Actor Round, which is, yes, 9 p.m. to Lead, Butte Street, LU12EY, LU12EY. You see me, I say X amount of things, when the X amount of DJs and so on, from White Magic Soul, LPOJ, ZP Feder, Killer Rich, myself, Honorable Sir Kush Genesis, Fantastic Silver Fox, Brother Tony, Honorable Mandingo. You see me, I say special guest, and you got Bobby L. Numero, you got Chris Goldfinger, you got Gaz Paz. You see me, I say you got participation then from Jamaica. You see me, I say Sniper Sound and DJ Power from Canada. You got representative from DJ Boom, and from Antigua you got DJ Wizzy. X amount of things. www.ticketshq.co.uk, www.ticketshq.co.uk. Yes, log on, and if you want buy your tickets, £7 tickets, more upon the door every time. SFDC Radio Togetherness Dance, the 20th of March. Give thanks. Whoa, time run out, time move out. All right, I'm going to still off with my last one, folks, because you know, say, most on top of the plenty. You see myself, I give thanks and praise for everybody for taking time and lock into the show, understand a little bit about who I and I is personally. When seal off with a tune that I usually start out my Monday show with, this is one of my personal tracks. Again, when I had to find myself, I needed to realize that for me, it was very important for me to have relevant knowledge and relevant education. And for a long time, I was going wrong and I was confused, because I was getting knowledge and I was getting education, but it was the wrong knowledge and it was the wrong education. You know what I mean? So I had to discover what was my knowledge and my taken away. No wonder I was lost. No wonder I was scattered, because my history became fabricated. You see me, I say, but knowledge, you know what I mean? And you research and you find it, that truth will set you free, because the Bible says, seek the truth and it will set you free. But seek the relevant knowledge for yourself and it will set you free. And the relevant knowledge is knowing that moving to the African center, moved into the center, I could look all around me and see the picture much, much clearer and make comparisons and see who I do what. I'm out of here, folks. Love you lot. Stay blessed. Yeah, give thanks for help and support. Give thanks for those locking on the room for coming in. Give thanks for those in the chat room. A marvelous sucker by Raggy Road, World Tide. Excellent with the things that you can hear. We have lined up information and locked up on Facebook and details. Yes. I'm out of here. Blessed. And, you know, Black History, this track document, I find myself. I'm out of here. That's the far right.
Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of Black history. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of Black history. Black history. Black, it ain't no mystery. Black history. Black shouldn't be a mystery. Move into the African center. See the oldest bones on earth. Move into the African center. That's where life first gave birth. Move into the African center. knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Black, black, black history. Black, black, it ain't no mystery. Black, black, black history. Black, black shouldn't be a mystery. Moving to the African Center. Take a good look at black history. Moving to the African Center. See how we come through kings and queens. Moving to the African Center. See the high philosophy. Moving to the African Center. Get tuned with your reality. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Black, black, black history. Black, black, it ain't no mystery. Black, black, black history. Black, black shouldn't be no mystery. Step into the African Center. See scientific evidence. Step into the African Center. Check out Egypt, ancient Kemet. Step into the African Center. Let's study the Metu Nectar. Step into the African Center. Take a look at the whole of the picture. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Seek the relevant knowledge. Seek the truth and it will set you free. Seek the relevant knowledge. We're talking about the knowledge of black history. Black, black, black history. Black, black, it ain't no mystery. Black, black,
SFDC Radio.com. A mash up the world. Mash up the world. Mash up the world. Mash up the world.